I don't trust her at all, Dia. It makes me nervous that she's so willing to just, do this for you. Something's up.
Do you remember, 15 minutes ago?
Of course,
You
yeah.
do, yeah.
Okay, no, just wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt a little unlike myself. I felt a little, well, kind of felt like I was around Elena. I felt really, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Forget it, Dia.
You were almost servile. It was entertaining to watch, I must say.
It was not entertaining at all. Something
Honestly,
was
I
wrong.
found it rather sickening, but I was too polite at the time to say anything.
You've never been polite in your life, Eridonis. You wouldn't know polite if it hit you with a 5-fingered branch.
Well, I simply have to do the opposite of what you do most of the time, and I'm sure I'm there.
Why do you let him talk to me like this?
You make it too easy, my friend. You make it too easy. Let's go rest up and get ready for Guy's homecoming.
The only useful thing you've said. Let's go.
Is the stream back up, by the way?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
What did you say to me, by the way?
So they were asking you whether you could make use of such a powerful sword. Senra turns to you and says, "This is a weapon of slaying. I believe it is, judging by the heads on the wall, a lichen lacerator."
Lichen
lacerator.
That's an
Oh.
alliteration right there.
That's great.
I mean, there's me. Thank you. I probably could, but I highly doubt that Baba Yaga is just going to hand it over to us willingly.
Yeah, we'd have to negotiate, Tanner.
And what do we have to negotiate?
I don't know, your soul? Nah, just kidding. I don't know. She'll need favors. Trust me. She's got a lot on her plate, and we could probably
Still
eat some
needs
of
our
it
help
for
with
her.
quite a lot. I mean, if I'm being honest, but
Yes, absolutely.
Tanner,
But
I'm
the
You're
not
not
core
being
of
sure that-
honest, Daya. You're being practical.
Well,
Negotiations are practicality.
Sorry,
if I may also put in my 2 gold pieces here, Tanner, if it's a weapon of slaying, you might find that it is a more offensive, violent weapon that you're used to. More for murder than protection, if you understand what I mean. Just,
Of course.
it may be powerful, but yes.
Tanner, think you could wield it without problem with that shield of yours. Imagine charging into battle, a bulwark of spirit of redemption. You would have the shield in front of you, the great sword raised above, like the fist of Raziel himself. It would be a spectacular sight.
But my oath isn't one of redemption.
What?
He kind of cocks his head towards Ember. It's like, you know this.
Yes, Lord Protectorate. Very funny. Let's go. Eridonis is right. Enough of this. Tanner, we should get you that sword. End of story.
Well, it would be useful if it was a sort of undead slaying, but lichen slaying is at least not going to be that useful to us unless you're planning to go up against lichens anytime soon, Tanner.
Well, Eridonis, he could use you against you. You're a bit of a shapeshifter yourself. I bet a weapon of that should scare you very much.
And
Not really.
Why did you ask me about talking?
Because the weapon supposedly has a voice.
Voice of Raziel.
Senra says, "I could be mistaken. The decor of this room is different from when I last stood in it. For
Well,
example,
it did seem...
these heads were dragons last time I remember.
Now that's interesting.
And the sword here, I believe, was a dragon slayer. Seems
It did
like
seem attracted to me.
Is it different every time?
Well, I guess it depends on Baba Yaga's whims, what she wishes to display.
If she redecorates.
Yeah, exactly. I've been in that holding cell for a long time. It's been through at least 2, maybe 3 different iterations from what I've seen. Perhaps she has more than one weapon of slaying. Don't know what happened to that dragon player there.
Senrith, I guess I should
Mm.
just, quickly say thanks. You kinda got me off the hook there. Don't think I won't forget when I offend in manners. Maybe I'll have a few breadcrumbs left for you as a thank you. And we'll remember this.
He nods, but says, "Oh, I didn't expect any payment or return, but
Well, to be
thank you."
fair, Ember, you probably owe him for
Oh, we're
killing
even
him.
now. No. You don't understand, Tanner. Now we're even. He owed me a debt, and he repaid it. I simply released him. I didn't kill him.
I don't know. I definitely say killing him is quite high up on the list there.
Stenrith,
He
tell
says,
this man what I did for you.
"If if I need something in the future and you're one able to help, then perhaps I might ask
I
for it."
will if I'm not busy.
So what you could say is that Ember would work for you.
No, not a chance. Like I said, I would help if I was available and not busy.
I'm not sure if I like the idea of people working underneath me.
Why not? It's the best. Menial tasks are below people like you and I, Senrith. We don't need to waste our time.
Call it nostalgia from a previous occupation as a cleric, one who serves their god.
Cleric, you say?
Mm-hmm. Once upon a time.
Interesting. Shall we?
Yes. Let's
Let's
go.
return to the guest quarters, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Where we're going.
I could use a bit of shut-eye. I know you elves don't understand, and I'm sure you're quite impatient to visit a elven forest, but I'm tired. I'm excited too. It's gonna be great,
Rest and
Dia.
meditation is important. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, get your wits about you, Dia. This is a big moment. You're gonna shine bright like the stars. It's gonna be great.
As I say, keep your expectations in check. My people are not overly effusive.
They will have nothing but praise for us, Dia.
No.
We've done such great things.
What?
Shine bright like a diamond.
Ah!
Right.
Oh God!
Right.
It was there.
Cam, message that to me now, and when it's on YouTube,
I'm
I'll
doing it now.
change it.
It was there.
Right.
Sorry, anyway.
Anyways,
No, that was worth the interruption.
So now closes the doors to the dining room. And
Ah.
bye-bye. And
bye-bye, Snurg.
Good night,
Get to
Snurg.
work.
okay, so what do you wish to do? You sound like you want to do some rest and meditation before you take on this big.
Yes, because we don't know what will happen.
Okay.
I am positively spent, like, mechanically, guys. I have nothing. Literally nothing. I cannot do it. Other than the Castellan staff, I can't do shit all.
I think I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, but you can still hit things. Ember doesn't have that.
Yeah, the 1d6 plus 1, the quarterstaff attack. Justice.
Hey, it's
Sounds
good
pretty
at justice.
Good point.
Does it have justice carved into the side of it?
Timur says, I think
Good.
Baba Yaga was expecting you to take leave now, but how long do you wish to spend before we depart?
I suppose if
Oh.
your family has a home there, we could rest there.
Yeah, we should not keep her waiting, actually. That's a good idea.
It's up to you. I just
I feel woozy. Anyone else feel funny at leaving that chamber? Ugh. Oh, what is it with that room? I was not myself in there. It was
I
very odd.
I feel flushed. Like
something
Yeah,
you
I
ate.
wasn't the only one that was charmed, I think. Someone else was too.
yeah, I was. That's
Okay,
what I was saying.
everyone-
I felt
everyone
like
but
flushed,
Tanner and
like
Kyle.
washed out.
Mhm.
I was
Maybe you
trying to make
both.
into water puns.
Maybe you both just had too much wine.
Perhaps.
Well, I mean, perhaps, but I only had a glass of water, so I don't think I
enjoyed
can
that
get.
wine.
I don't think I can get drunk off water.
I think you'll come to find that a lot of the things within the hut act very differently.
Watch yourself, Eridonis.
Especially the alcohol
Yeah.
and just the sustenance in general.
Well, it is Fey cuisine, and Fey cuisine.
At the very
Wizards.
least, like, you've got used to moving from room to room.
Yes. Fey cuisine
Well-
often has a price beyond chewing for it.
What's Daia's hometown called? Or
I
like little
don't
village?
remember. Did I write it down?
So, no, you basically put in your backstory that you're from a noble house called
Yeah.
House Greyfox. So, in a way, I would imagine that the village is also called Greyfox,
Mhm.
just
Cool.
for simplicity's sake. And
It is, yeah, we are the ruling family, so that would make sense.
yeah,
Oh, you're already a queen. Huh. All right.
Oh,
not queen,
more
noble.
noble.
Noble,
In Ember's
yeah, we
A
don't-
eyes,
lord, perhaps.
after this, you are the grand poobah of Grey Fox.
Yeah, sure.
No, I mean the
Right.
way I'm picturing it, it's like, like they're the chief family, but it's a small village.
Hmm.
Like
Nice.
there's not a it's not a whole lot of power there, but it's a ceremonial thing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And like in terms of looks, I'm picturing, I don't know if Chris has a different idea, but what I've been kind of picturing is a very rundown kind of small Rivendell. Like a lot of that elven
Awesome.
architecture, but
I
in
love it.
the way that Rivendell was
That's
in an
cool.
autumn rather than a summer. That everything is
Fantastic.
kind of faded, a little bit worn down.
Lost
like
its
some of the-
luster.
Some of the buildings are empty. Yeah, like there has been no magic maintaining it for a very, very long time.
Elves
Yeah.
without their soul,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
That-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what I had in mind as well. Like, I
Wicked.
picture elves who have gone without magic for this long. Everything's kind of I'll describe it when you get to see it, I guess. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go have an amazing moment then, because this sounds pretty emotional. This sounds fantastic.
There's a door
Let's
right
go make
here.
Sarah Jane cry.
yeah.
There's a door here, and there's a door here, and there's a door here. So pick the door you wish to use to get home.
Indeed.
Okay.
Homeward Boundaia.
Homeward Bound. I'm going to. Oops, where am I? All right, I'm gonna go to the door at the end of the hallway.
Funnily enough,
Do-do-do-do.
this is the wall. This is the room that you can have brought in several designs from your own homes. You can
Yeah.
see the Fountain of Weep. You can see there are bookshelves and decor resembling that of your hometown. And I think, yeah, either this door or that one
I'm
is
gonna
a
take
good
the-
pick.
yeah,
They're kind of
this door
close towards the more natural looking leaves and vines that you spread across the room.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's at the end of a huge hallway. It feels more ceremonial than like just going through some random, linen
Yeah.
closet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You see a Kenku like on the other side eating a hot cross bun. But then as you close the door, yeah, the keyhole is free for the cloud key instead.
Okay, I take out. Is everyone coming?
Enter.
I wish to see this momentous event, yes. And Grizz is also saying, "Yep, right behind you now."
Okay, I will take out Lady
Yeah,
Mora's
I'll
cloud
leave.
key
I'll leave
and-
last. One sec there, Tanner.
and open the door and walk through.
Okay.
Eridanis will
Um,
follow after.
Let
Grizz.
me grab you all.
As
Copy you.
everyone jumps through except Tanner, I'll quickly grab on his shoulder. Tanner, listen, this is really, really, really important for Daya. I am quite anticipating my own homecoming, and I imagine she's going through the same. Just listen. I know you see things that others don't. Keep your eyes out, because I get that bad feeling in my stomach that not everything is as simple as this. Just keep your eyes open, Tanner, and I'll go through the door.
Okay.
He'll just give a nod and follow him.
All right. As the cloud key inserts, you hear the tumblers of fate.
Oh
And
my god, the eyes.
Ooh, this is a new one. Yay!
Cool.
I love the chicken
Look
head.
at the hut. Oh my
So
god.
good. It's
Uh,
beautiful.
as you open up the door, you hear the tumbles turn, the door opens into a brand new forest location. Definitely not the Gloom Glen. Much more natural, green, bright green, and there are footprints around the hut. It seems as though the hut has done a little bit of walking whilst you were waiting around, perhaps just checking the perimeter. In the distance, you see there's a large broken down tree, one that's completely snapped from its trunk. There are several more tracks, depicting that perhaps the hut literally walked straight through it. There's a crow perched on top of the hut itself, and it like caws as you exit the front door.
Oh,
And
hi
it does
there.
seem like the hut lowers down such that you can step out or jump from a small step into the verdant plain.
Actually,
There
before we
are
go, when
yeah,
I want to pat the door and just say, just stay here, don't go far. We'll be back shortly. And thank
Uh,
you.
Is that you, Scalador?
No, I'm just
no, the
talking.
Maybe not.
Skeletor
Okay.
doesn't seem to be around. You remember
Okay.
that being a perimeter, but
Mhm.
you do see the eyes suddenly like wobble and turn and look down at you, Daya.
I will wave at it. Go, hello.
I had forgotten how strange this thing is. Bit
You
unusual.
you see the mouth open up, and you hear the voice of Baba Yaga saying, "I have taken direct control of the hut for the time being. Don't be too long. I wish to get the hut back to its rightful place soon."
Of course, we have not forgotten, but your patience is noted and appreciated. Um, do I recognize the forest, like or the type of vegetation, if not the precise trees? Like, can I
You
tell?
do and you can. In addition, roll a nature check. You
Yeah.
are not too far from your home.
Ooh, 12.
The grass seems untended. It's wild. This is definitely the forest on the outskirts of your city. There are new trees, new shrubberies. There are abundance of fruit and berries. It feels like you're in spring. You're trying to recall the exact month in which you left and went into God's Fair Forest. You you're not quite sure. You might have been autumn. You can't really remember off the top of your head, but yeah, there definitely seems to be.
Chris, I think we're losing you. Oh,
Oh, yeah, it might be. Yeah, you're not quite sure exactly what time you left, but this definitely looks like the outskirts of a forest. There's just new things, new forest, like new trees, new vegetation.
Okay. So but everything looks more or less as it should.
Yeah,
Okay. Good enough. I will just do a head count to make sure that everyone came with me through the door and start heading towards the village.
not a Dia.
okay. You know your village lies southeast of here.
Southeast. While we start, I'll ask Tanner. Uh, Tanner, how many elves were in Weep? Did you deal a lot with them? Is it a large population there?
Uh, if I remember right, Chris, there was quite a mixture, wasn't there?
Of in Wheat, yeah,
Yeah,
it's not even a primarily elven city. In fact, it's more
it's quite.
human than it is.
Yeah, there was there was quite a mixture of races within Weep, but the majority were humans. But that's kind of what we got being quite a big port town.
Hmm.
General
Looks,
traders.
looks like there's a bridge across the river here if we need to go that way.
Why do you ask that?
I just wanted to uh to warn you that these elves are not like most elves. We haven't had magic in a very long time, so you may find them a little strange. A
Well,
little,
they can't be as bad as the Palthorians, so that's all I'll say.
Ooh,
doo, doo, doo.
Has Daya heard of Falcorians? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
No.
She doesn't know a whole lot about the other
Yeah,
elves.
I
No.
suppose Palthorians wouldn't really interact with Dire's people at all because of this, thinking about it. But,
What
yeah.
are Palthorians? Or players' knowledge?
Palthorians are
Well,
pretty much.
if hold on, are you asking that in character?
Yeah, sure. I'll ask Tanner. Oh, what's a Palthorian?
Tanner.
Now, remind me. Oh, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're crazed fanatics that hate everything that is magic.
Mm-hmm.
They have infiltrated the city multiple times, attempting to spread their word of this anti-magic cult. Even appearing in some sermons and whispering to crowds, trying to turn everyone's heads against, well, the natural order of the weave. They always get caught and they always get sent out. They stand out very much in a crowd.
What is their aim? Why? I mean, to what purpose would you be against magic?
As far as I'm aware, their only aim is to destroy magic. Or maybe even disbelieve it. Somewhat so as
I would.
the people who think the earth is flat.
Just
Earth.
any trouble?
Oh, God.
Yeah, go on. No,
You
no,
have to be
go
a
on.
fool not to want magic. Magic, you live such a simple, meaningless life without magic. It'd be terrible.
Ember, just
Not
beware of
so.
that kind of language.
Huh?
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
We haven't
you're
had
going
magic
to
in a
place
while.
where there hasn't been magic, so perhaps
well,
don't
it's not
go
your
insult-
fault. I'm not saying you're simple, Di. You're gonna be the bringer of magic. You're gonna be the hero.
I'm sure that it's nothing
You're gonna
to worry.
bring these people back from squalor into great
So-
heights.
Call it simplicity. Please don't call it squalor.
My apologies, Di.
Just she's
Ember kind of looks at
wincing,
you like, what do you mean?
oh God, like these people are very proud. They've had some hard times, but
Yes, proud, of course.
they have done their best in unfortunate circumstances.
Sometimes
You're gonna be their
though-
good fortune in the unfortunate
Mm.
circumstance.
Well, I certainly hope so. It's not guaranteed yet, but yes, it will
Well.
be a time. If we can do this right, it will be a time of celebration.
They should build you a statue.
So once you finish talking about how there's this cult, they believe in anti-magic, Tanner. Sena's been listening to this all, and he says, "I believe magic shouldn't be wielded just by any common folk. It is dangerous. Magic has led me down a path of destruction. Could do nearly the same to, well, anyone. Magic is not wielded correctly if it is not performed in a safe environment. Well, the consequences can be dire."
To be honest, this is why I play with fire.
But you could say that money is money is similar to magic also. Dangerous in the wrong hands. Can make people do anything you want.
any form of power is dangerous in the wrong hands, whether it be finance, magic, military might.
And just like money, there's corruption within it.
there
It's
is
very
far-
hard to limit who's given magic.
Money, you have a design behind its use, a will. It is far easier to make mistakes with magic. And when anyone can use it or learn it, a lot of mistakes can happen.
A lot of corruption in Weep, Tanner?
At
I
I mean,
wish-
these Palthorians are the responsible for it.
I doubt that very much. They're psychopaths, yes, but dangerous? Unlikely.
Thankfully, idea, we don't really deal with corruption all that well. Well, that much, because our laws are quite judicious and the sanctions are quite steep. Smuggling and the like, you lose your head. And that's how it should be. No shenanigans. Respect those who are in charge. Respect your authority.
Respect those who have
is-
earned respect, not those who were born with it.
Is the
Both.
authority always
both.
incorruptible?
In idea, I could never see wrong that the Sultan would do. The Sultan should never be questioned at any cost. Incorruptible, Daya. Absolutely.
If you say so.
And those who serve under the Sultan will be rewarded, and those who serve under the Sultan will see justice and see light.
But isn't that just corruption itself? Running under
Absolutely
one
not,
person's
Tanner. No, Tanner. If you were to impede the word of the Sultan or the will of the Sultan, you would be attempting to corrupt Gaidia at its core. It would be a disgraceful act.
But it's just that, it's the word of one man rather than the word of the people.
The Sultan is the Sultan for a good reason, Tanner. She in the case of the Paraculum in the city of Brass, and he in the case of Gaidia, they are the ruler, Tanner. We follow the law to the best of our abilities to avoid corruption. That's the whole point.
Laws themselves can be corrupt. Just because it's a law does not mean it's right.
You'd have to see it for yourself, Eridonis. But you might find the city a little dry for your tastes. Although, maybe you could spend your time crawling around the cisterns and the aqueducts.
Well,
Perhaps.
Maybe more suited for someone like you.
Yes, perhaps. But at least there's less there for you to burn, I suppose.
as you're having this conversation, you do start to see similar tracks and headstones belonging to House Grey Fox. In the distance, there is two large trees. They have what are they called? They're like a watchtower affixed to a tree, effectively, and they have like these ropes between them and boarding. It almost kind of forms like that of a gate to your town. There aren't many defenses to your people. Needless to say, they definitely heavily relied on magic, but in recent times you can see that they have set up more crude defenses. There is kind of like wooden posts, but it doesn't form like a solid wall. They're just kind of more to mark an exterior or an outline to your town. But then you don't get many dangers this way either. So there's nor really is there a kind of major need for them.
No, they've been very isolated and have very few enemies. So it's a yeah.
Exactly, yeah. They're not practicing magic, so not many people have come to them to seek them out, and nor have they left to. Well, you're the only one who's left to sort of seek out a fix to their problem, but yeah, and most of the time they are still able to live off the land. You can see that in every little detail, whether it be the planks of wood that have been carved from nearby trees, or the leathers and like the coverings of like different huts or roofing. It's all made from like natural surrounding elements of the forest. As you're approaching, though, you do see a bit of movement from up the top of the trees, and you hear a voice call out, And it is in Elvish, of course. What else? It says, Al Shor Daran, which means effectively state your names, your purpose here.
Okay, I will. I'm gonna whistle a tune, which works like a password sort of thing, to signal that I'm from there.
Hmm. Okay.
And then yeah, that's all. I'm just gonna whistle a short, like 5-10 note tune.
Yep. A lot of the hunters would use whistle calls that doesn't give away their doesn't give away like a necessarily dangerous hunter is nearby. They effectively use like short bird whistles so that the animals wouldn't get alerted as they begin to like surround a potential prey. And you let out one of these as a way to notify that you are a returning party.
And it's also, yeah, signifying that like I'm from here. So
Hmm.
yeah, only someone from here would know this.
You
Yeah.
hear a confused voice from above, like, Allah, Foundry. And he seems to call out to the other watchtower. And you can see another kind of individual step out from behind the foliage and canopy. And they seem to lower their bow and they seem to be squinting to look down. And they both kind of go wide-eyed. Fantullah. By Idrin. It is the long-awaited one. Lindaway has returned. And they quickly rappel down from their ropes and they land down next to, almost like down in front of you, and trying to see your face behind the hood from above. They didn't have a good vantage point. But they seem to like take a respectful bow towards you, and then they look to the others and speak in Elvish, saying, "Who are your friends? You've been gone so long. It's good to see you're still alive."
I will nod respectively back to acknowledge their bow. They thank you. I'm glad to be back. How long has it been, may I ask?
Since you left,
Yes.
he looks at you and says, "You don't know?"
Oh,
The days run together after a while
And
outside.
as you're looking at this individual, you recognize this. This is one of the hunters,
Hmm.
except he was very young back when you first. And it's hard to tell because obviously they are elves, and so oftentimes they keep that young complexion and beauty. But you would definitely know when an elf reaches an age of maturity. They do go from children to adults,
Hmm.
and you recognize this one's particular braids or their eyes. There's something about them that I would say you definitely recognize. This is Yale Warren, who is one of the novice kind of hunters. And it seems like he's been posted here. Yale Warren, Sparkvale. Don't expect to remember all their names. Just for now, you recognize them, and they do look older, and that's something even for an elf. But he says it has been years. Uh,
Um. Well, I I hope you didn't give up on me. It's good to see you, Lauren. How's the hunt?
I should be asking you. There was little extravagance in my daily life and routine. Please tell me your adventures. You must have made powerful allies and been on grand adventures. Let us walk and talk. And he begins to lead you into the village and ask you all about effectively your tales. And you can spare him what details you want, but he definitely seems to he wants to almost hear it all for himself first before you have to share it with the elders potentially.
Okay. I'm not going to tell him much. I'm just going to keep saying I should talk with my father first, but I will
Yes,
introduce my
yes, of
party
course.
and say these good people have been helping me, have been helping us, and they deserve every bit of our respect that we can. So please honor them as guests here.
Okay. You should be able to see the beautiful, but
Yes.
slightly,
It's perfect. I love it. Love it. Love
yeah,
it.
kind of a rustic-looking elven village. There is the telltale signs that this was once a majestic and mystical place, but now it feels like the fog hangs low in this place, giving everything a kind of grayed out atmosphere. Senrith looks around almost nervously, looks at himself, double checking he's not the cause of it. But it does seem like the grass is slightly less green, slightly duller, patchier in areas. The wood doesn't seem as varnished and smooth. It seems a little bit more chipped here and there, a little bit stained as well from weather, whereas elves would normally be living in coexistence with nature, this one seems to be like dragging its feet almost, and that is evident on the people's demeanor and tells themselves. You can see people milling around. There's ones like wheeling carts full of a meager bounty of fruit or vegetables. The fruit and veg themselves don't seem as ripe. They seem a little bit maybe just standard, which is something you wouldn't expect of an elven village. You would expect beautiful, bountiful crops. You would expect people to be dressed elegantly in flowing robes, holding lanterns of moonlight. These ones seem to be using normal candles, normal torches to light their everyday abode. There is
Man,
a beautiful bridge that's still intact as you cross over the river and waterfall, and people are using buckets to get themselves fresh water. The water's a little bit murky. It's not like pond scum by any means, but it's not crystal clear like you remember it.
Mm. So this is
what
already
is
decrepit
this?
from what I remember from when I
Yes.
was last year.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not
You
good.
remember the water being looking a lot fresher, for
Hmm.
sure. It looks a little bit more stagnant, greener maybe. Yeah. Doesn't look like it's clean. They're probably gonna have to filter it
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah. I'll ask Yale Warren. Has everything been all right since I left? It's been
I
taken longer than I intended to come back, but I didn't expect things to change this much. Has something happened?
well, I suppose the moss has grown over. The vines have not been kept back as much. Some of the buildings have fallen into disrepair, but the families are still here. They still exist and coexist with nature. We live off the land like we always have, but the mists have come down a little bit, strangely. He points out towards there is a high hilltop. I wouldn't say mountainous region, but it definitely has craggy and stony features jutting out of this large mountain, like cliffside. He says the mists used to be high there. Seems like they've sunken down to our level in recent years. But other than that, um, well, actually, he kind of perks up. We have had visitors for the first time in a long time.
Visitors.
There are less visitors now and more, um, how to say it, lodges, permanent lodges, but they
Who?
are another elf tribe.
Really?
Yes, they've come to offer aid and guidance in our squalid existence, I guess.
Ain't
Where
that
did where
squalor?
did where did Amber, shut up.
Sorry.
Where where did they come from? I hadn't thought any elves would be interested in us.
They came from the north. They still had fresh snow upon their cloaks when they arrived. They come from a place known as Palthor.
Fuck. No.
You called it already. Yeah.
Oh,
Tanner, that was
fucking
in character. Yeah.
Balthorians here.
What? Tanner literally
Ah.
has taken a sip of
No.
his beer on the way over. What? You actually choked me there.
Oh god.
Oh no!
Like,
Why are
shall I
Balthorians here?
Shall I take it to mean that they haven't brought magic to help keep the mists away?
No, by no means.
Palthorians here.
Yes, they are a peaceful tribe. They've come to, like I said,
Peaceful.
offer guidance.
They murder their own and threaten cities among them. And close by to them.
Whoa. They have done no such thing.
I have seen it firsthand.
I do not believe you.
If what Tanner has told us is correct, the only reason they haven't tried that here is because of your.
Those are hurtful words, and I would keep your tongue in check around here. They are esteemed guests.
You want to know about esteemed? Dia Linda Withy? Sorry, I can't pronounce that one. She's returned. If there is no greater esteemed guest, you watch your tongue. You know who you're talking to right now. Palthorians.
I just hope that these
Terrorists.
newcomers won't interfere with, well, the reason I've come back. I think you know, well, without saying too much, there's only one reason I would have come back. So perhaps it's time we go and see my father.
Don't listen to this guy, Dia. He's confused.
I
Or
Without
perhaps
knowing
he
about
knows
these-
more because he's been here.
He seems a little bit more, I guess, cold shoulder at this point, more formal. He says, "Very well, I'll take you to your father," and seems to lead straight back all the way to your. Are you going to your family home? Yeah. Your
Yeah,
actual.
yeah.
Okay.
Going to the family.
That is interesting. I didn't expect you to go there so soon, but we shall.
Oh.
There are definitely looks at this point. A lot of looks as you're coming through the city proper, but none of them are particularly joyous or celebratory. They seem to look at you with weary eyes, and some of them almost like shield themselves from you, like close their doors, close their windows. Not so extreme as to like avoid you, but
Mm.
they definitely don't seem to like your presence here. That
Okay.
much is obvious.
Oh,
But
what I
maybe
expected, Dia.
no one's been announced. Dia hasn't been announced here yet. Perhaps they just don't realize it's you. Perhaps they've all forgotten.
It's
Okay, I'm
possible.
gonna.
And at this point, like I'm gonna say to the others, like kind of under my breath, like I might have expected a little bit warmer welcome, maybe a nod or a smile, but
Something
we
is
haven't
amiss, Dia.
formally arrived until we greet the chief of the village. So perhaps it's just formalities.
An enemy of Tanner's is an enemy of mine. Keep your wits about you, and I'll
It-
light my hands up just a little bit, ready to,
It's possible.
don't fuck with me.
It's possible, considering the reason you have returned, that perhaps the Palthorian way of things has seeped in a bit further, so they're not as overjoyed about your return as they would be.
I can't
But-
imagine that a legacy of 7,000 years has been undone with just a few newcomers. That's crazy. That's
They sound like a cyst. The cyst can be removed.
Poison in the right place at the right time can change
Yeah.
a lot. A
they
single
just weren't
drop of
expecting-
water can wear
they-
down a mountain.
if they weren't expecting me to come back, they may have given up on magic altogether.
It
So
wasn't a
seeking an
2-year.
alternative path.
You were on
I
a
was-
timeline, right, Daya?
I was supposed to come back within 2 years. If it's been that long, yes, I would have given up on myself as well, I
I mean,
suppose.
for 2 years for you, Daya. I mean, for me, is a Grizz Aerodon. I don't know who knows what Aerodon is. 5 days is a lifetime for him. So, but for Grizz and I, at least, uh, Senrith, I don't know. Anyways, sorry. It is a long time, but for you, Daya, 2 years is just a month or two. Why would they give up so soon?
But I'm guessing, based on Dia's reaction, that it's not been 2 years. It
Been
might have
quite
been
a lot
longer.
longer. And besides the fact is both of my elder sisters left and didn't come back. If they hadn't heard from me after 2 years, I imagine my father, my mother, everyone would have given up.
Your
It's the
sisters
only
leave for the
reasonable thing
hut
to
as
do.
well,
Hmm?
or they just left? Like you don't know where they went.
No, they left. They left for the same reason I did, and they failed. And
Find the
well,
hut.
I know my elder sister, my oldest sister, Kala, and her beau, Aldaway, they were the first ones to leave. They were the ones projected to bring the magic back to our people. And it was a tribe of dwarves who brought Kala's body back a few months later, hauled away. We
Ah,
never saw
shit.
again.
I'm sorry, Daya.
After that, it fell
I
to
didn't know.
my second oldest sister, Belfa. Uh, she departed with a troop of hunters, rangers, and they brought back, well, news of her demise. We never found her body, and so it
Eh,
was my turn.
I'm
And if
sorry, Daya.
I left alone, so if I hadn't come back, yeah, they would have had no news all this time.
Well, you do your family proud. You do them proud, then, Daya, because you've risen to the occasion. You've done what. No discredit to them, of course. I would never discredit the dead, but you've done what they couldn't, and they would appreciate you for it. It's too bad they wouldn't be here to see this, but you're really brave, Daya, and you're going to be great. Let's just keep that in mind that you are the people's hero, the people's champion. Uh,
I had hoped that this would be a
Despite,
triumph,
yes, it seems odd. Yeah.
but
Oh,
this is now too long. Maybe I have missed the chance. Maybe I am a disappointment.
Your
Maybe all this
father's
was for nothing if we didn't do it in time.
absolutely not. I don't waste my time. I don't do things for nothing. I helped you because I saw potential in you. I know that there was just great reason for this. I'm sure your father will have answers.
perhaps, but be ready for anything. We don't know what has changed in the time that Dia has been gone.
Your mother's name, did you?
My mother's name is Mara. Father's name is Dayon.
Mara Dale. I'll just type those into the chat so I can catch their spelling. Thank you. Okay, so your actual house is probably a little bit out further beyond the rest of the city. It's probably on a higher plateau of the city,
Yeah.
and so
Okay.
you do have to take some time getting to it, walking up the still ornate looking bridges. Even though you can hear the creak of the wood underneath your footstep, you can see occasionally a board missing. Definitely doesn't look rickety by any sense of the word, but it's like he said earlier, it's fallen into disrepair perhaps.
And Dia will definitely notice this because even though we didn't have magic to maintain things artificially, we were still living with nature and living in harmony with nature, and things were being, maintained and groomed and
Yeah,
guarded.
you still had carpenters for sure
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you Grizz? What's going on?
Oh, yeah. Why am I Grizz?
No, that's
You
fine.
click on a person and type, and it comes out as
Yeah.
their name.
Yeah,
I keep doing it by
yeah.
accident.
I noticed. That's all good. Okay, so the journey out of the town isn't too long. You come around to a stone pathway that leads up to what used to be like a thoroughfare of trees forming like this beautiful kind of burrow, but it seems like they've not overgrown in this area, but rather sort of not been they've been trimmed back, and the leaves seem a little bit like grayer, and you can see the soil doesn't look as healthy. It's not unnatural or corrupted by any means, but it's just less fantastical than what you remember. The stone path is littered with dried leaves. It looks more like autumn when it apparently should be spring, but regardless, it's a familiar sight and it is nostalgic stepping up these steps towards your old home. Let's change the music up.
Okay. Is this my house, like here?
Hold
The
on.
building right in
Should
front of
we?
us, or this one?
No, I've got another one for that.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Oh, there we go.
Ah.
House Grey Fox. Let's go to Dia's house.
All right.
How Dire, it only seems fitting that you should lead the way again. It is your return home.
We'll be
Yes,
right behind you, Daya. If you want us, I think.
Of course, I want you here. You deserve the credit as much as anyone.
I like the way you talk, Daya. You're starting to think like me.
We may have our disagreements, but I haven't forgotten everything that you all have done for me.
I've always thought you're one of the most clever ones amongst us, Daya.
As you step up the familiar steps, you
Yep.
see past the kind of wire frame that supports a door, and your house sigil on the
I
carpeted
love
on the
the
floor in
sigil.
front of you.
Oh, it's so pretty. Okay.
You hear a
Wait.
little rustling in the underbush, the sound of natural animals
Wow.
foraging.
I'll take a moment to just look around, see how everything has changed.
It-
And
It looks very much the same, but it being your home, you notice the smaller little details. Just perhaps like something that needs like a lick of paint here, or something that needs like brushing away there, like a pile of leaves needs cleaning up. But as you step inside your actual house, it looks just as well furnished as the day you left it. The house inside, the interior has been very well kept and maintained, and you can hear like a sloshing from inside. The water feature that you have indoors is filled to the brim with exotic like fish. It's like a koi pond, effectively. You've got, and you can see from here as you kind of enter, just past the fountain, you see uh, a woman kneeling down at a shrine to Larithian, and it seems like they are lighting a candle, and they are they are in a moment of prayer.
okay,
It
I'm
is,
gonna
of course,
gonna-
your mother. Even from back here, you can recognize Mara. Mira, sorry.
I will walk through the door and leave it open for the others to follow. But I'm not gonna step too far into the house just yet. Like just stay on the little entrance way. And I will call out. Mother.
She's still in this prayer at this point, and she seems to have her eyes closed from perhaps the way her head is kind of bowed to the floor, and she calls out as well and says, you can hear her in prayer. In fact, actually, as you kind of enter, she's speaking in Elvish, and let's see. So she's calling out to Larithian, saying, "Please, every day I've prayed, bring back my daughter safely. Now more than anything, now more than any time, this is uncertain times. The village is divided. Please, hear my voice." And as you call out "Mother," you hear her say, "I can hear her voice still. It's like yesterday when she left."
I'm gonna whistle a different tune, but one that was only for our family, and hope that kind of gets through to her.
I think the whistling definitely kind of starts to bring her out of this intense prayer, and you can see her frown kind of like a furrow, and she stands up suddenly, and her ears prick up. They are definitely the ears of a high elf noble woman. They are long, pointed, elegant. She turns with a sharp twist and sees you standing there with the rest of your allies behind. She speaks in Elvish again. I don't believe what I am seeing.
I'm sorry
No,
it
no.
took me so long.
She begins whispering a incantation. Danano, Daldia, Dorothor. And it is you recognize this as an old Elvish incantation, not necessarily to cast a spell, but to dispel a spell, more to sort of rid an illusion in the area. It's almost like when you say, like, pinch me, you know what I mean? She's like saying this incantation to sort of dispel this image of you. She looks at you, and although she seems to try and ward you away with this verbally, she actually instead approaches you.
I'm
And
walking
reaches out.
towards her as well. Yeah, and not. I'm not gonna hug her, but I am gonna kind of reach out my hands just to kind of grip her forearms. Just less
She
yeah.
catches your hand before you can reach her arm, and your fingers kind of interlock and clasp. And as soon as that happens, you see almost like a sparkle in her eye as perhaps tears begin to well up. But she tries her best, being an elf, to contain the emotion, and perhaps only sheds a single tear instead, and says, "Daya, you are alive. I knew it. I prayed for you every day, for your safe return." And as everyone's witnessing this unite,
Reunion.
yes, reunion. Thank you. God. As you witness this reunion, although you can tell this is definitely mother and daughter, it doesn't appear as though Mera is maybe even a day older than Daya. They're both clearly adult women, but it seems her aging stopped at the time when she reached adulthood, and now she is just maintains this young, beautiful complexion. She is definitely wearing the robes of of a noble woman. She sort of has this crest upon her crown as well. But yes, you heard me correctly. Looks high elf, because although Dia is a wood elf, she would have been born into a noble family. And I'm going to say that was your mother's side. It is the noble high elf side, and your father is like the wood elf.
Yeah, that works for me. So,
Okay, cool. So you're like a half wood elf almost, but yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Mother,
He says-
it's so good to see you.
you are
I'm
with
sorry
allies.
it took so long. Yes, these are my friends. And I will bring her over, like kind of lead her by the hand and introduce everybody. These are my companions. They've helped me through, well, unimaginable dangers. This is Ember, Grizz, Tanner, Eridanus, and Senrith. Senrith, why don't you come in the house? You are all welcome here.
He steps forward sheepishly, not sure whether he's pushing. Didn't want to like push forward. His appearance is, after all, perhaps one of the more shocking than the others.
Mhm.
But she doesn't seem to be put off by this. In fact, she seems to be more in awe at all of you, and says, I am blessed this day. Astor below, you are all magical beings. I have not
Certainly.
seen magic in such a in such a nonchalant way in centuries. And she does seem to be looking over at mostly Ember and Eridanus in particular.
I'll
I have
step
seen-
over here and light the candle with my hand. Poof.
She
Eridanus, why don't you fill that pond a little bit?
she
Eridanus.
takes a short gasp as you do that.
Yeah. Eridanus will shape some of the water in the pond and raise it up and form it into an image of the woman's face before pulling it back.
She
Why not?
She smiles and looks back at you all and says, "You are, all of you, practitioners of magic?"
Well, genie touched, we are.
Grizz is perhaps the exception to that, though his axe may be magical.
Yeah, I do have a magical axe. I want to bring it out inside your house, of course. I want to knock something over. It's a beautiful house, by the way. Miss Grey Fox? And she takes a short nod. Yes, though you may call me Mera. Your friends of Dire, your welcome guests here. I assume that you've all been on a very long adventure together.
That's an understatement. I've crossed the Midrian Sea. I've sailed all the way from Gaidia to the inner portions of the God's Fair. We've and Amber just goes on and on until someone cuts him
Yeah.
off, telling this grand story.
Eridanus will just say, they have travelled with Dire a bit longer than I have, but in the short time I've been able to, I can say it has been an honour and a privilege to travel with her.
Oh yes, I should have mentioned that. She's nothing but the best. She'll be well regarded for her accomplishments.
It's
Oh.
true. We've gone through quite a lot. I've seen magic I hadn't believed possible was before. Lived a lot of time, but I hadn't thought I was gone this long. Everything has seemed so changed. Is everything well?
It is uncertain, Dire. Troubling times for our house. We are being questioned, not necessarily deposed, but we have certainly lost our sway in guiding our people. They have shunned the prophecies. Some have even shunned Lorithian. It is not good news.
Is this due to the Palthorian influence, or due to more natural influences? Time, perhaps.
She turns and says, "Ah, so you have heard. Yes, there are Palthorians amongst our ranks now. However, I don't believe they are necessarily the sole cause. I believe the people's hope died when the star disappeared from the night sky.
Well, Gaia can fix that one.
So when I didn't come back, that's
It has
it's my
been.
fault.
It is not your fault, Daya. You were tasked with a last resort, but it was a miracle that you returned. I am just thankful that you are still alive and well. I feared for the worst. But we have lived our entire life without magic. Yes, it would be an honor to restore our way of life, our heritage, but it's more important that you're safe and we do not have a repeat. As she sort of turns away and perhaps turns towards the stairs here, where you know it leads up to the bedroom. Seems to be lamenting perhaps your sister.
Well, better late than never, as the humans say. And I will show her the elsewhere flask, and I say, I'm not sure, but I hope I have succeeded, finally, and know why the star had left us, and it wasn't anything to do with us after all. Well,
Adorable. She sees this, and which means like what a sight, what a beauty, what a vista. And she looks at the flask with like absolute wanderlust. This is what you've been destined for, Daya. Are you telling me that you're here to fulfill the prophecy? Finish your destiny here?
I will nod. That's why we've come. I wouldn't have come back otherwise.
I can't believe it. Some in the village would say you're too late, but looking at the stars here in this vessel, does this mean you can still do it? Senrith begins to speak and says, the Larithian star is... It exists in two places at once, from what I've been told. This one is the one from the Feywild. Is that right?
It is. We have the assurances of Una, the magic. What is she? The
Archfey?
queen of the fairies. Or the
And
Queen
Feywild?
how
of the
long?
Stars.
And how
The
long
queen
were
of-
you in the Feywild for?
Difficult to say, unfortunately. Less than a day, as the Feywild counts it, but what's important is that
A
for
full day, yeah.
Enough
the
time
way
to
I
see
the way I
dawn
figure
rise.
it, we had until the comet had disappeared to bring the magic back, and we thought it would take 3 years, but it's still here. It hasn't yet disappeared. So
And it may still restore the faith in your people.
it's not too late. I pray.
I've been counting the days since your departure, and it has been thrice. thrice that time, Dire.
9 years.
Oof.
How is that possible? I look
Ember
at the
just
others.
kind of shrieks a little bit. Like, what? What? Eh?
How
9
is it-
years?
We were only in the Feywild for a few weeks, and we were in the hut for, well, also a few weeks.
Yes.
What?
Well,
Where did the time go?
as they say, time is much like a river. It flows at one pace in some areas and faster in others. I would imagine that in the Feywild, compared to the material plane, time flows much slower.
9 years, though.
I need everyone to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no.
Has it been 9 years for everybody?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's not. Oh.
Do I need to roll this?
No. No. Eridanos, you're the only one that doesn't make sense. To,
I
mean-
+3 Ember.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that
I mean, I
counts.
suppose thinking about it, that means I'm 9 years old.
Hmm.
Adonis just muses to himself.
Yeah, in
God.
human years. Okay,
Damn
Chris
it.
got 13 as well. So,
I'm gonna forget it
Ember,
all.
you don't believe it. You don't believe you've been gone for 9 years. You can't.
Oh no.
You can't have been.
This shit again. Not this shit
You
again.
remember stepping into the God's Fair Forest literally yesterday.
Fuck.
And so to
Right.
you, it does, like you said, a full day. It has been to you a full day. You remember going into the hut. You remember talking and everything that's happened there, but it all feels like it's been condensed, squashed down, and you're having trouble remembering all the little intertwining details. For you, it feels like you set out in the morning, you went to the hut, and then you've left and you've now arrived kind of in the evening time. The sun is now just setting.
Not
how
this
the
shit again.
I love how the ones who succeed are the elves. The one
Yeah.
people who aren't going to look crazy here.
Well, hang on. It can't have been 9 years. I just left yesterday. What are you talking about, Dia? It's not Dia. Sorry, Miss.
It's very well.
What?
It does feel like it's only been a day.
Mira,
I've only just met you, Ember.
yeah, Grizz, we just set out from the God's Fair.
What are you talking about? How many times have we had breakfast together? Have we
Gone to the
rested?
bathhouse.
Gone to the bathhouse every
Well,
night?
it was a long day, but we only spent a day.
How
Remember,
many
like, one
dinners
trip.
did you eat in that one day, Ember?
I don't know. This doesn't make any sense. What?
As I
Chris,
said,
surely Ember would understand that something is weird here, right? Like it seems.
Yes, especially since your allies are telling you that it isn't the case. You remember going to the bathhouse.
I'm like,
and you
I
remember
have
having
had several
breakfast,
meals.
but
Yeah.
they're all condensed into one instance. You only went to the bathhouse once. You only went to get breakfast in the kitchen once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've
it's
only had
all
3
kind of
meals,
condensed.
Kaya. Why? Lunch, dinner, and breakfast. What do you mean?
I'm not sure I remember everything either. What's happening? Oh no. Did this happen? I can't remember. Did this happen again? This has happened before, hasn't it?
It seems like your minds are struggling to adjust to the time change, perhaps.
Is it? I'll look at Eridanos and Tanner. Is this some kind of shocking effect?
It's
Don't know.
It's possible because, well, if I was to take a wild guess, and I can't say this is right, but at least in the case of Ember, I can't speak for Grizz because we don't know much about his past, but for Ember at least, being someone who is, and I would suspect for yourselves as well, but perhaps your elven
Eridanos, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, if you let me finish. It's possible that in order to compensate for the difference in time, their minds have acted as a defense mechanism to sort of condense all of those moments so that it makes sense to them, even if it doesn't to us.
I could prove this. I just have to go to Idea. I have to. My. It's only been a day. What?
Well,
Defense mechanism.
as
Wouldn't
Dia
time-
Senrith,
said,
you're a cleric.
Oh, I used to
Shit.
be. What
well,
you wish. I can tell you now, this isn't the first time I've heard this being the case. Ones who
Listen,
leave
I don't
Babiaga's
wanna-
domain, even the God's Fair Forest, in fact, seem to remember things differently.
Well, hang on. I don't want to. The Dias. We can figure this out later. Let's. It's crazy. Ember kind of starts pacing a little bit. Dia, what?
I will. I'll lead him by the elbow, over
Wait.
to one of the phases over here. Ember,
Oh.
why
Do
don't you? Ember, Grizz,
Do I
come-
look
come and
older,
sit down.
Dia? Do I
Come
look
sit down.
older?
No,
No.
you look just fine. Just have a seat. We'll figure this out. It's probably just the hut weirdness.
they've
I had this once
Grizz,
before. I had to get my memories restored once already. Not again, please.
I'm just going to turn to Mera and just say, I do it in Elvish. I do apologize about my companions. They don't seem themselves at this moment.
It's been a strange little while. I'll
yes,
say under my breath too, Tanner.
but
Yes. Oh, and also I'm channeling Wildfire, the most esteemed one of this group. And I will give the deepest, most noblest of my high elf bows I can to her.
yeah.
She takes a short bow. Yushnuala, you are welcome guests. Do not fear. I understand you've been on a long trip. If you're in need of food or rest, please, you are more than welcome to make yourself at home.
We don't wish to be a burden, however, rest would definitely be. Yes, we'd be very grateful.
I was hoping we could accommodate my friends for a meal and a rest, a night, 8 hours at least for my non-elven companions.
Of course, Daon should be returning by then as well. He'll definitely want to see you.
Where is he?
He's speaking with the Council of Elders at the moment. As I said, the ongoing complications are one that have been taxing for him. The moment he lets this momentum lapse, I fear that, well, our way of things here, our way of life may change drastically. It is a constant battle of reassuring that he has undertaken. One I have had to reassure myself as well. But I have remained faithful.
Thank you.
Prophecy
Perhaps that is faith that has kept me going. I can hope I can bring some easing of your burdens, and to Father's. But we should wait for him to return before anything else.
Yes. Please. She offers up the divans as a place of resting, and she perhaps goes and fetches fresh food. There's like a bowl of berries, another one of like different kind of nuts and seeds she offers.
All kinds of different teas. We like teas.
Oh yeah, the teas, of course. How can I forget? In fact, this whole wardrobe here is full to the brim with different tea leaves.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
The art is what we do.
Beautiful.
And she will brew you each a specified flavor.
I need a good fire leaf tea would be nice. I need a real good sleep though too. Maybe I'll feel better tomorrow. This is. Do I look different? I don't want to age in my 20s.
It's not so much that it's been 9 years for you. For you, it may have been just a day. Think of it as take if going back to what Tarek said about time being just another dimension that we travel along. Think of it as you've been traveling on that path, but you took a shortcut.
I don't feel good about this, Aerodonis. That's not. What's happened? I suddenly. This is a homecoming for Daya, but I suddenly am feeling significant similar anxiety. I don't know what's befallen me. If it's been 9 years, that anything could be.
But
Anything could have
drink some of
happened.
this calming tea. Down, close your eyes. Maybe you'll feel better in the morning. It will all make sense. She's lying through her teeth, absolutely, but
Okay.
just relax.
He wouldn't have the insight to even think that you'd lie to him at this moment. His passive insight's -1, so he's not,
No.
or like a 9, I guess it would be. So he'll just take the tea and start drinking.
I'll
Just in a complete state of bewilderment. How could this happen?
I'll
Is this
walk
right?
over
He
as
doesn't even
he's-
believe it. He don't know if he believes you guys.
Yeah.
I'll walk over as he's like mid sip of the tea, and as he's done before, will place a hand on his head and his thumb on his forehead, and I will cast protection from good and evil as my last spell.
Thank you, I guess.
And
It's it's at least
Feels good.
yeah, it
it's to
feels
kind
good.
of just wash away the as I did with the hut before, just to kind of like give that reassurance.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Cam. Thank you. That's nice, Tanner. Thank you. You're always looking out for me.
It's fine. Just get some rest. We've had our hardships.
Yeah.
We're finally in good company.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
She's really beautiful, Tanner. You elves have a way of looking majestic, looking the royal, a queen. Daya would be a great leader. Her mother made it so.
I very much think that's against something Di wants to be.
Well,
She's very much
maybe
a
in
free
time.
spirit.
Maybe in time she'll realize the power that she has. Maybe I'm not sure. This is great tea. Fire leaf, always so tasty.
It is great to you. And Ember,
Yeah.
you're soothed and calmed. And although there is this uncertainty in the back of your mind, you're at least in a place of peace and comfort. And perhaps those worries are best left for another day.
Absolutely.
sleep-
This is
sleep-
Daya's day.
And fatigue definitely hits you. Maybe they put something in this tea, but it is super relaxing.
Is Dia actually pacing?
Yeah, like she's going around and making sure that you guys are comfortable. You've all got
Yeah.
pillows and snacks and tea,
Yeah.
but she is also
One-
unable
one-
to rest, and she is
Yeah.
walking around
As
Yeah, what-
the fountain.
Once Eridanus has had his tea, he'll look to Daya and say, "Do you fancy a walk? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the sky over this place. I've not seen it before. Particularly, as I'm assuming it's coming to night at this point."
Yes, it is kind of getting closer to night, but yeah, it's not dark, but it is like twilight, so to speak.
Yeah. So, essentially, what Eridanus wants to do is, despite the fact that there is this comfort and stuff, he actually, if he can, wants to sleep out under the stars instead. It feels more fitting to him.
Yeah,
Does
that's
he tell
fine.
Daya this, or
Yes, and he says, "It's not that I don't want to stay here, it's just, as you know, I have a certain connection with the night and the stars, and this is a different set of stars to, well, what I'm used to, a different night sky, so be interesting to see it."
We do have a lovely patio just on the edge here, which is absolutely safe, enclosed and close by should you need anything.
Yes, that seems ideal. And that's just
Okay.
where Adonis will go to
And we'll
rest. But
take him outside. Just go.
Yeah.
You can chill here.
but he'll have invited Dia for a little walk to help calm her nerves in the night sky or the twilight hours if she wishes. But
Yeah,
Okay.
her face is completely blank, but she cannot stop moving.
Hmm.
Just wandering around. Just can't
Yes.
stop pacing.
yes,
And
well,
she's sort of explaining like all the stuff on the patio, like this is a rose bush that my grandmother planted. It's been flourishing here ever since then. And this one here, these are tulips that my oldest uncle was gifted to from the humans of I don't know, some made-up village years ago. Telling all these family history stories about
Yeah.
you know.
well, it seems that even if perhaps you've been gone a bit longer, things have still been able to flourish and survive and maintain. So, I, whilst it's perhaps been longer than you would expect, I don't think. Well, I think everything should be fine. But
I hope so. I will. It's been longer. I don't know what the consequences are of me having missed my window.
yes, but
I just hope it isn't
the
irreversible.
but the comment itself has been delayed and such, so it's possible that you arriving later may mean that you've arrived on time.
That's
But
what I'm banking
either
on, if I'm honest.
but either way, between yourself with the elsewhere flask and me with, well, being me, I guess, I'm sure we'll manage to succeed, and everyone else will also do whatever they can to make sure that things go how they should.
I'm glad you're here with us, Aradonis. You know, it hasn't been long, but as someone born from the void, you deserve to be here. And
Well, it's an honor to be here and a privilege to be part of a rather momentous occasion.
yes. Well,
But you should get some rest. I realize you're apprehensive and such, but it's still necessary to rest. After all, you want to be at your best for when you return the stars to their rightful place. And you wouldn't want your father to see you panicked, either.
who's panicked? I'm not panicked.
Well, you haven't stopped moving the entire time we've been talking, and that's... Whilst I realise you can move fairly quickly and with grace and dexterity, I've not ever seen you be quite this fidgety.
I suppose it's just, well, it's going to be a big day, Zol.
Yes.
But yes, I'll let you go. There's,
If...
I'll give here. There's blankets. There's food. You can always come back in if you need anything.
Yes.
Just whistle, and you'll get some help.
Yes, and if you need to talk about anything, you know where I am.
Thank you. I think for now, just rest up, and I may need your advice tomorrow. Understanding how this magic works, how the Fae works. You understand better than anyone.
Yes, I will do my best.
Okay, we'll go back.
And Eridanis is probably going to climb up one of these trees and just sort of sleep in the branches where, like, because it's like, you said it was like autumn, right? So,
Yeah.
or was it? So
It's
obviously the
autumn.
leaves have
Exactly.
coloured and
That's the
fallen.
thing. It's like, is it spring? Is it autumn? It's strange. It feels like it should be spring with the way the colors are here, but it's like leaves keep falling. The color seems slightly dimmed out.
Yeah.
The fruit
It's
not
like-
as ripe as they should be.
It's like nature's out of balance in some way. But
Yeah,
essentially,
true.
Eridanus wants to climb into a tree so he's higher up where he can see the sky.
Perhaps the seasons are just lagging behind, and as such, they're a little bit confused. And maybe that's indicative of the people's uncertainty as well in what time it is and what they should do, whether they should move forward or whether they should trust in this prophecy that has been long, long overdue. Senna seems to be at the shrine to Larithian and just seems to be staring at it. Can't tell much emotion behind his mask, but he is just staring at the shrine.
Chris.
Yep.
5-minute bio break.
Yep, let's go for a quick break as everyone begins to kind of lull into a long rest. It's going to be a nice 4 hours before Dayon appears anyway, so we'll be right back as everyone enjoys a nice tea.
Excellent.
Best in the
Wow.
world.
Wow, 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 Sarah Jane. Wow. That was... And there's so much more.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit freaked out.
Yeah, that's...
I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's obviously well down the road, but I'm trying to think how... Damn, 9 years for us that we don't have 100 or 200, 800 years of our... Oh my god.
Everyone
Yeah.
on
For
the
Yeah.
material
Amber and
plane
Grizz, yeah.
is
9 years
shitting
older than.
themselves.
Yeah, Amber,
Yeah.
he's completely... At the same time, he can't remember it, so he's confused.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
weird. That's weird.
9 years
but
away
yeah.
from Weep.
Mind that though, yeah, this is your and I can't wait to see when your father comes back. That's really cool. But I need to use the washroom.
Yes.
Get a beer because
Alright.
this is gonna be a
Yeah.
good show.
Right, we'll be right back.
Okay.
And welcome back. Okay, so it is a good 4 hours time. Everyone would be long into their rest at this moment by the time your father comes back there. And it is late as well. It's not like, he's coming back after a shift at work or anything. It is like early hours of the morning almost by the time he finally comes back. And you can see from perhaps the porch and the patio, you can see a figure coming up the patio. They look tired. It looks like they are dragging their feet. And you can hear like a heavy sigh as they go up the steps. And it's at this point they suddenly perhaps see Eridanus, but you are up in a tree, so I'll give him a perception check. A 15. Yeah, that's all like. Yeah, he would notice you, and then suddenly stops and goes, "What the? What?"
Intruder?
Yeah, so effectively like stunned for a moment, and then he kind of realizes that you're not like waiting in an ambush. You're actually just sleeping, and that's probably the snoring that his elf ears pick up on. And then he suddenly starts taking a stern kind of approach and says, "Aburi, Fandu," and shouting out at you.
Yep,
And
yep,
do you
yep.
speak Elvish?
I speak Sylvan.
You don't know what he's shouting at you.
Just sort of like
Yeah,
wake up and be like, excuse me? What? Sorry, I don't speak Elven. I reply in Sylvan because it's the most like closest one I've got.
Who are you?
I will.
Get
I
out
will
of my
I'm
tree.
a guest.
I
I'm a guest
rush
of your
out.
daughter.
Father, he's a friend.
My daughter is. And then suddenly he turns to you and immediately sees you eye to eye, and then. My daughter. Oh,
My
shut
Lord
up.
Father.
He rushes towards you, and unlike your mother, who is a bit more reserved and tried to hold back the emotion, he does go in for a full hug and embraces you. You're back. You're still alive, and you still have all your limbs.
I'm here. I did it. I think.
You've
I
been
hope
gone so long.
I hope I've made you proud.
And who's this snoring buffoon you have in my tree?
He's a friend.
Take that, Eridanus.
Let's let him sleep. Come inside. We have much to talk about.
Sleep.
What time of day is it now?
Oh, it's probably very early in the morning, like
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna say 2 a.m. roughly.
Okay.
Judging by the
So
stars.
are the stars out?
Oh
So
yes.
Eridanus is going to just lay there and stare at the stars. And you know what? I'm going to roll on my astronomer's boon whilst I'm thinking about it.
Perfect. Yeah, it's almost like a good wake-up call because you were pretty exhausted. You perhaps just passed out, and that little wake-up call is giving you the opportunity to see the stars. Let's roll your astronomer's boon. See what you get.
Which is
A D3.
Yep, D3. Let's see what we get today. The night.
Oh, perfect. All right. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, you see a constellation in the night sky, and it is of an armored figure, sword and shield in hand. The
Ooh,
point.
that's actually got some useful uses to it. At first, I thought, like, when am I going to use that one? But I can actually, now that I've read it fully, I can see a use for it. So,
Okay, perfect.
yes.
So, as Dayon steps into the light, you can see there is heavy bags under his eyes, and unlike your mother, who clearly has not aged a day, Dayon is definitely showing signs of age. Perhaps it's more his stress than age, but there are like perhaps a few more grey hairs than usual in his side partings, and again he looks like an adult elf, but you know he's probably like at least probably 100 now or something.
Well,
Probably more.
He'd be a couple hundred years old.
A couple of hundred, right? Because Daya, you're how old?
I'm just of age, elf-wise, which means I'm probably 110, 120.
Yeah.
Something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah. So he's probably in his 200s, maybe even 300s.
Yeah, 300 or 400 at least, I would think.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
So
But like for him to have aged in 10 years is a big change.
yeah, and you can guess at this point it's probably more stress than it is anything because there's these bags under his eyes. He seems to like as he enters, oh thank goodness, tea, and he picks up a cup that Mera had prepared for him. They exchange a kind of a knowing look and nod, and I will. As Mera says, I won't ask how the day went. I can already see from your face, but let us not worry about the trials at hand. Let us celebrate our daughter's return. Daya has brought back not only allies, but a wondrous magical artifact that is, I believe, here to fulfill her destiny. Leon looks over and like I'm guessing you gesture towards the elsewhere flask. It's probably like sitting in the fountain.
It's normally kind of hidden in a pocket, but when Mother mentions that, I'm gonna kind of hold it out and kind of bow slightly with it, presenting it to him. Go. I hope this fixes everything.
He kind of looks.
My Lord Father.
He sort of raises an eyebrow at it, rather than meet it with wanderlust. Seems to look at it with a discerning look. What is it?
The vessel itself is called the Elsewhere Flask, but inside is the night sky and the Lorathian star itself.
Where did you acquire such a strange potion of sorts?
We acquired it in the Feywild. It was I'm not even quite sure even now how much I understand, but somehow when passing through the Feywild, the star had been trapped, delayed, held back.
Are you sure the fairies didn't play a trick on you, Daya? Are you sure this is not just some sort of elaborate ruse and they've just sold you a potion with glitcher in it?
I can assure you it's very much real. And Tanner will once again give a deep bow.
Oh. He looks at you and notices your armor and begins looking for a crest on it. You can see that he's wearing a similar sort of armor, but it looks more like a regalia sort of armor made for maybe more like formal events rather than a battle-hardened piece of equipment. Do you share a crest on your, or do you sport one on your chest plate?
I don't believe he does. This is more of a. It's not so much ceremonial, more battle ready. So it would definitely be just like a medallion underneath his shirt.
I'm trying to remember. That's the plate you found on the. I was going to say on the dead paladin. So that would probably be definitely not on your emblazoned on your armor. But if you're not sporting one, he seems to be visibly looking up and down at you. Not judging you, but trying to identify you.
I'll notice the look and I'll pull out my medallion of Raziel.
Father, may I present my companion, Tannerlin Wildfire, paladin of Raziel from the city of Weep. Tanner, this is my father, Lord Daon of House Greyfox.
It's an honor to make your acquaintance.
Welcome to House Greyfox. Your welcome here, but I can't say that it is a warm stay. The people here have changed their views on gods and magic. Recent days, it's been a struggle to maintain the hope and joyfulness. It's a word I doesn't even feel appropriate for this town anymore. People are uncertain, Dire, so you'll have to forgive my discerning looks. A couple of people have already tried to pull a farce once or twice, and it doesn't put our prophecy in a good light. Let me say.
I'm so sorry that it's taken me so long to achieve what I needed to do.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry this burden has been yours to bear. I can't say for certain that this will fix things, but I don't know if magic is coming back, but I believe and I trust that the star will be returned to its rightful place. And if the prophecy means anything, then now is the time for it to come true. What that will look like, who can say?
Let us hope they are prepared to put their faith in one last ritual. I will have to gather the council again tomorrow. For now, I need to sit down. Dire, it is a miracle that you've returned. I fear that it is maybe too late, but that is a day I will face when it comes. You've done well. And regardless of what happens, Dire, you have made House Grey Fox a very proud family. You look stronger. Look like you've seen great trials. And as he sits down on this, he says, tell me of your adventures. I wish to hear everything.
I will sit down next to him. And yeah, I'll tell him kind of in a low voice so as not to wake anybody up. But tell, I guess, both of my parents everything that's been happening and...
In fact, yeah, there's a snoring from Grizz. And he kind of looks, ugh, this man needs a shower or a wash. Please, let's go talk in the bedroom instead.
As Tanner's now awake, he'll go and stand by the door, as of course this is now precious family time, so just giving them space, but at the same time somewhat keeping watch.
And there are 3 beds in the bedroom. Seems like I couldn't actually find that better. There are each one of you sort of perched on the end of a bed, and it's kind of almost like a round table in a way. How much do you share of your adventure? He's definitely keen to hear about the Feywild.
I tell him a very edited and sanitized version. Like there's not enough time to tell him everything, but I don't tell him about the wounds that I've taken, the number of times that I've died.
Oh god.
Some of the people that I've killed.
The amount of times Grizz got bunked in the bollocks for the macaque.
Yeah. But I do tell him, like, okay, well, we went to the hut, I talked to the witch, and then we ended up in the Feywild by mistake, and then we had heard this thing, and then we got the thing, and I don't tell him anything about the sacrifices in that, like, water chamber. I just say, well, you know, it was a little trial, but then with my help of my friends, we managed to do it, and then we came this, and then we encountered this obstacle, and all of us together we were able to overcome the obstacle, like this very kind of, you know,
Yeah,
not blow
gotcha.
up blow. But
Yeah.
I do tell him like all about the um, the stars disappearing, about what Una did, like bringing the stars into the flask, about the chalice of the void, about
Hmm.
our theories that the magic was being sucked out of the star somehow in the Feywild, and that's why it was taking so long.
I definitely enjoy the weird mystical elements of your story, and the
Yeah.
fact that it sounds very epic, and in a way that kind of confirms their ideals of a prophecy and a destiny being fulfilled here. And they seem to kind of a sign of hope and a new horizon seem to be present on their face, like this is what they've been waiting for this whole time.
Mhm.
But Amira definitely exudes this more. She seems to be smiling the whole time in almost like relief, whereas your father seems to share looks of approval, but also there seems to be like a heaviness to his demeanor, such that there is still one last obstacle perhaps to overcome. He
Mhm.
knows that it's not going to be easy, and he'll say it's whilst your ventures have been grandiose here in this small town of ours, everyone else has been much more grounded. It's going to be hard to convince them that this is the right path. You will join me, I hope, in the council tomorrow.
Of course. I know that, well, I'm hoping that once we release the star, I won't need to convince anyone. It will be its own evidence. I don't quite know how it works or what will happen, but I do believe, Father, that this is what we've been seeking for. What we've been seeking and what we've been praying for all this time.
Says yes about that. That does raise another concern. I will need to speak with Traxalim, the sage, the one who knows the ritual of returning this magic. He is a very old elf, but he spoke of this as a very specific timing that needed to be performed. I'm not sure on all the magical details, being much more tied up in the politics. But if anyone can remember anything to do with magic, it'll be Traxalim. Let us hope he's still sane come tomorrow. Traxalim, you remember being an elf in his probably late 600s,
Mhm.
and he's one of the very few elves that perhaps recalls a day of fading magic.
Mm.
That's not even actual magic, just a day like he was born into an existence where magic was still gone, but just the smallest glimmer of it still remained before it faded out. And he's like stupidly old now. But okay.
Did he
At this
write
point,
down
everyone.
any of his theories, any of this while he was?
Oh yes, he would be like effectively the sage, the lawkeeper of your town. He would have been the one that perpetuated the existence of this prophecy in the first place,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they would have been passed down from his elders. So yeah, a very long time ago. At this point, everyone, you've recovered a long rest,
Yay!
and yeah, the only disturbance in the night is perhaps a small weasel that comes and tries to steal
Well,
some food from Eridanus.
no Palthorians.
Climbed up a
Catherine.
tree to get to me. Someone determined weasel. If it wants some food, it can have some. If it climbed
Weasel's
a
a good
tree.
climber. Gonna steal some What have you got on you?
I've got some rations.
Okay. I'm steal some rations.
Oh, look at my reach
Roll
to the
a
blaze back.
swipe.
Burning hands.
So I'll look at the weasel stat. What? Got,
We still had stats.
it's got +3 to. Oh, it's got +5, so I got 20 on stealth. Now you don't notice this. And come
Yep.
morning, you realize there's like loads of crumbs all over your backpack. Yeah, and there's some as well leading on a little trail around the front of the patio.
Weasel-like behavior.
Yeah.
I will spend a first level spell slot and cast Mage Armor for the day. As I always
Okay.
do.
Let's grab that. Yep, prepare your spells. Do your hit dice. Let's do a long rest on
Yeah.
Grims.
That's what I'm just deciding on for mine.
The
Uh,
the morning comes slowly, sluggishly. Like normally you awaken to a beaming god rays that like shine in through your window, but the low hanging fog seems to filter out the light such that it's kind of just a slow haze of glow, and eventually you realize it must be getting on. It must be time to get up at some point. You can hear birds singing, but even their voices seem to be slightly off key, slightly out of tune, rugged.
Okay. Dia will spend a good part of the morning praying at the shrine, which she has not done the entire time she's been away. But she will pray to Corellin the Rethian that things will work out today. Just
Yeah.
When
You
I wake
see-
up. No,
Okay.
sorry.
Go on.
No,
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna ask when I wake up, do I feel any different? Do I still feel kind of confused? Like
I'm
do I
afraid
still? Yes.
yes. That
Okay.
day was a very long one, but
Okay.
everything is so condensed together. You barely remember the details of them. It's more blurry than it was when you were first trying to remember it.
Okay,
But
perfect.
you do remember the fact you met these adventurers in the hut, left on a mission. You still understand your goal is to return to the hut and potentially deal with Geralt. But yeah,
Perfect. Great.
everything
Thank you.
about the Feywild is probably like like you've just woken up from a drunken stupor and you can only barely remember it like it was a dream.
Why does Wizards do this to me? This hurts as a player. You scumbags took like 3 months of my life away from me. Screw you, Jeremy Crawford.
The Feywild is it's something rooted in folklore. Like when you come back from the Feywild, it feels like nothing
Screw
more
you.
than a dream.
Chris Perkins, Mike, whatever the hell your name is, scumbags. Yes. The fuckers. All
In
right,
the
thank you,
night.
Chris. I won't interrupt anymore. This is Dia's time.
No, it's fine.
no,
You
it's
can.
I don't want to like be the
Oh,
only
by all
one
means.
playing today. So please, guys, like
You're the.
It might
This is the
might
Dia
need
show.
a more forceful voice to make things work in this place. You're not sure. Everyone seems very drab and
Wishy-washy.
yeah, wishy-washy. They seem like they're tired and exhausted. Maybe it needs that spark of energy.
I'll light
Kick
the
things up.
fire under their ass.
Exactly. You had a very nice rest. This is one of the few you don't wake up confused as to what time of day it is. This is the one time you've realized, yes, this is morning, sun, finally, vitamin D.
Fresh smell in the air.
There is a fresher smell, but it's kind of also a little bit musty as well. I don't know. It feels like a heaviness, like a moisture in the air. A musty, like almost like it's just finished raining. But as you kind of look out into the patio, it doesn't look wet. It doesn't look like it's been raining. Maybe it's just a low-hanging fog.
Great idea. Dia, can I get another Guardian and Fireleaf tea? That was a great way to. That'd be a nice way to start my day off.
How rude of me. Yes. Would anyone else like
Yeah.
anything
Yes,
to
how
eat or
rude.
drink?
And I wouldn't say no, but I don't want to put upon your hospitality too much.
No, no. Your
Adonis,
guests,
just take the
your
tea.
guests
Come
here
on.
and very welcome.
Right.
I will make sure everyone gets a tea and
You know,
a
Daya,
Thank
light
you.
continental breakfast.
Yes.
I'm a more of a city type, but I could get used to this, Daya. It's quite peaceful here.
I think it's quite beautiful. It
It
may not
isn't.
be as
I
exciting
would
as your city, but
I would miss the night shows and the politics and things, but I can understand why you elves live this way. Yeah, makes a little sense. Yeah.
The night sky is particularly beautiful, though I'm sure it'll be more beautiful still once you have accomplished your goal, Dyer.
well, once we've done that, I'll take you out into the fields where things aren't obscured by the trees. You can really
Yeah.
see what the night sky looks like at its fullest.
That would be
So
nice.
hold on. Oh yeah. If there's still stars in the night, and you got the stars in the flask, how does that work? I thought you had the stars.
I do. I have the stars that mean something.
Oh,
But at least when I left, there were still stars in the sky. It was
Hmm.
too cloudy last night to see much, but
Oh.
the particular Lorethian star, the one we were waiting for, the one that brings the magic with it, that's what I'm carrying.
Okay. All right.
Tanner, Grizz, actually, I'll use message for this. I will individually message them and just reaffirming my suspicions that all is not sword and axe at the ready. I still don't know if everything is as it seems here.
And
And at the same time that you're doing that, I'm gonna say to everyone, don't worry, everyone. I know things look a little bit run down, but you're safe here. Even with those Palthorians, no one here will hurt you.
I feel it.
This is a peaceful
And-
place.
and Eridanus will just nod to Dyer's father and just be like, "It's nice to see you again in the daylight."
Yes, I apologize. I thought you was a bum.
No, it's fine. I just like to
He
feel
is a
closer to
bum.
nature. I
You're
mean,
not right,
technically,
sir.
I mean, technically, I don't have a home at the moment, but that's because I'm
He's more
from the
of a vagrant.
Feywild.
Oh, so you are homeless. Oh, well,
Well, I find all of nature to be my home, but I suppose
that's a good answer. You will find no home closer to nature than this.
yes, and probably no home that serves finer tea.
Well, second that
Although-
one. You have Guidean Fireleaf. You must have sent ship far for that. I haven't had that since my own stay at home. Which, it was only yesterday, so I guess it hasn't been that long, but
Well,
Oh,
our
all the
ties
well.
to the outside world are limited, but if there's one thing we have, it's a well-stocked cabinet.
that's great, Daya. It's good to be prepared.
Hey,
Elves know about the important things.
Speaking of preparations, those who are observant might notice that whilst Eridanus was drinking his tea, of his sleeve rolled back, that he appears to have the mark of a sword formed out of 5 stars emblazoned on his arm.
Oh, is that new?
Tanner,
Yep.
Seems like that would be new.
What was that?
Okay.
Tanner and Daya probably would be the ones to see
Um,
that.
Eridanus has the mark of a sword emblazoned on his arm formed out of 5 stars.
Hmm.
very cool.
Yep.
As you come out into the morning fog, descend down the steps onto a walkway that leads down into the village proper. Over that same bridge that needs a lick of paint. the air smells. It is very natural, but it doesn't smell fresh. It smells like the river is going a little bit stagnant, and it does need like a flush out. What you need is a good rainfall and like wash away that stagnant river. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's rained in a while. Low fog is probably keeping clouds from building up. Maybe it's
Make
hard
it
to
rain
tell.
10 gallons of water in a 30-foot cube.
That
Would that help?
yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, so Eridanus just sort of looks to the river and like, don't want to be rude, but would you like me to have a look at your river when I have a moment? I might have a way to reduce the stagnant nature slightly.
The River Whisperer.
Perhaps after the meeting.
Yes,
But
like I
when,
said,
when,
when
when
time
things are in
allows.
order, the dams and the locks should be keeping the river clear on its own. There might be something
Right.
else, some
Sona
other reason
says
why it's blocked up.
that might be the problem. A river should be flowing ever still. And as you come around into the actual village, you see that there already is a gathering outside the council hall. It's by no means is it a throne room or anything, but it's the closest thing to it, where there are pews and a stand to actually preach from. And it's got similar decor to the temple in which you actually trained at. It was probably made about the same time. And around the gathering, you can see like murmuring individuals. There are robed elves there as well, and they seem to be doing most of the talking. They're dressed in a simple green cloak, and it's kind of a leaf green cloak. It's nothing bright or vibrant, and there doesn't seem to be many jewelries or clasps or anything like that. It's very simple, and there are no markings either. It's just kind of got a hood, and it drapes down to the floor, and that's about it. The faces of these elves, you don't recognize them, but you can roll me a perception check, or even an insight, whichever you prefer.
Do perception.
Okay. 8.
Oh,
So
that was, no, that rolled as Grizz. Wait a minute.
yeah, I know it's still your
It
your
was-
roll.
it
It's
was
just
still
probably
rolled
because
my
you have
thing,
grid
so-
selected.
Okay, yeah.
So
That's not great.
it's been 9 years. You can't recognize people. Maybe they're of a new family, but you can't really tell who they are or
I-
what family they descend from.
Can I
Well,
tell
anyway.
how if they recognize me, like if they know what this means that I'm back?
No, they don't. In fact, no one's really been not much attention has been drawn to you at first, but as Ember and Eridanus do step closer, they do with like they do start speaking aloud, and their attention is immediately drawn to both of you, and they seem to be saying something to the others in Elvish. And I'm going to say with a perception check of 8, you still can't quite hear what they're saying. Tanner, you can roll a perception check though.
Yeah.
You might hear them in Elvish.
Do perception. 9.
Oh, you don't. Okay.
Whilst
I thought you were a
can't-
good perceptor.
Whilst
did,
I
but not when
can't
you roll.
hear them, would I be able to
-1.
perhaps
In fact,
judge
Hmm.
by their facial expressions and stuff how they're reacting to us?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, you can roll an insight. That's better.
that's not my perception.
Yeah, Cam, you screwed
Yeah, I
something
just
up there, buddy.
it's because I rolled as you. That's why.
Select your token. And
Oh,
then
it
take
was
your
even
roll.
worse.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. Alright, but an insight check, you can definitely tell from their demeanor
Yeah, actually,
as they speak. You might even hear it in my tone of voice. Aman ana, ashvalanor, dunada, fala, and sharafal. And they seem to be gesturing at you as if like see them, like look at them, and they are all looking at you. That seems to direct their attention. And then he looks seemingly like he's flicking out his hand and wrist in a sort of accusative fashion and almost a condemning way.
Eridanus just puts a slight grin on his face and then will just wave. Be like, hello everyone.
There's a mixed crowd. Some seem to do wave back at you. Some seem to be just staring in amazement at you, like wide-eyed, kind of in shock. And others give you this side eye and glance and even a sneer. But there's a real mixed reception as you kind of approach.
Well, it seems in some people's eyes we're not the most welcome, Ember.
What? I'm welcome. I mean, people would be lucky to have me wherever I go. What do you mean? We're wherever Genie touched. We have a gift of our ancestors. So,
and I think that might
I see
be
it as a
some
gift. At least
people.
I don't know about you.
I think that might be some people's problem, which is
Problem?
fine.
Not my problem. They make it my problem. Well, that won't went well for them.
Yeah, but just perhaps a word of caution. Not necessary. Whilst they may attempt to. Actually, just a second. I'm just checking that I speak this. I'll change to primordial for this. So, switching to the ignorant variant, and just be like, whilst they may dislike us for who we are, and they may even insult or deride us, try not to rise to it. It merely gives them, to perhaps use a fire genasi term, more fuel for the flame.
I'm thinking along the ways that you do, Eridanus, and if they fuel my fire, they might get burned.
Yes.
Don't worry, though. I'll make sure that things go favorably for Dia. That's our first priority here.
Yes, we are here for Dia, not for ourselves.
Okay. So I do have a. Let's see if this. I can just drag this on. Hopefully this works. But it does look like once Daon has appeared, he holds the key to the town hall effectively. He has to try and bustle past people. Some of them are quite rude, they don't even move, which is what you would see as a punishment. Like that would normally be like someone would do something. I'm not sure the exact terms of punishment. It wouldn't be like whipped or anything, but they're definitely being given a stern talking to. Most people should clear the way for the house, the ruling house, and he has to kind of like shuffle past. It's making it very awkward for him. He eventually gets to the front and begins unlocking it and letting people filter in. Some kind of barge past, actually giving him a shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, watch it!" And they're just all rushing in, trying to get a seat on one of these pews. Perhaps thinking that the closer they get, the louder their voice will be heard. Who knows? Either way, I'm just gonna pull out this map, see if this works. Yeah, this looks good. Okay. Cool. So you're all inside here now. How this works. Okay. So Dion approaches the front.
I mean, we still appear to be outside.
Oh, do you?
At least on my screen. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if
I
that's
see
just
us
me.
outside in the village too.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
There we
there
go.
we
There we
go.
go.
Hey, cool. Look at that.
Ooh.
This
Transition.
is pretty wow.
Look at
this.
this. Daya, your hometown is fucking cool.
This is why I wanted to be an elf for the aesthetic.
Hell yeah.
The,
This
the
is
Elven
fucking
aesthetic was
great.
pretty awesome.
Look at this.
This
Sorry,
is
just
gorgeous.
highlighting Maker.
Yeah, shout out whoever you are.
Angel
Angela
Map.
Maps. Good for you.
Yeah.
Angel Maps, sorry.
Yeah, I think it is.
Angela. No, Angela,
Angela
Map.
Maps.
Angela Map, yeah.
Fun.
There's an A there.
Or Angel
for her.
Maps.
A plus maps. Angel A plus maps. Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so you'll take a few.
Wow.
There are a number of other elves here. I'm not going to drag out like 50 different tokens just to lag out the game, but you know they're
Sit
all of these elves
behind Dyer to
filter in.
some extent.
Sorry?
I'll sit behind Dyer, like not actually next
Okay.
to her, because
I've
obviously
never-
this is...
Okay, then I'll sit
what?
fuck.
Follow
In a rare instance, I was going to sit next to Eridonis in a rare instance, but
Oh,
Tanner would be good.
Roll
Oh,
an
that's fine. I'll sit behind Eridonis and Tanner.
I'll be up front because being a religious person, I like to see it.
There we go. Fuck out of my seat, peasant.
Cinerus does what any edgelord would do and stands in the corner, arms forward, cross-legged. Yeah.
Hissing
Uh,
at
Grizz-
everybody walking in.
Grizz like, oh, sorry, excuse me, oh, bumped into you. No, you know what? I'll sit behind you too.
Yeah, just keep your eyes peeled, Grizz.
You hear the wood like creak. Then they're used to taking elegant elven posteriors, but Grizz slams down. It's like crunch of the wood. Oh, my bad. I can pay for that. Have I got the gold?
Don't worry, Grizz. We'll take care
Oh, I
of it.
do. Got
You know-
243 gold.
Eridanis will be, don't worry, I'll fix it once we're done.
Yeah, I'll help you out with that.
Okay. It says, right. It is a little bit early to be calling a council meeting, but this is a momentous occasion. For my daughter, Daya, Lindaway of House Greyfox has returned. And there are lots of like gasps and murmurs amongst the crowd. What? No! Thought she was dead. Oh yeah, I heard she was just swallowed by a kraken. Others are like, wait, she made it. I thought she never even made it to the sea. I thought she was strangled alive by the Ents. And like, there's all these ridiculous rumors that are just constantly like being spouted. And he says, "Order, please." Daya has recounted the tale of her adventure, and she has returned with an artifact of power, one that can fulfill the prophecy, the destiny that she set out to. Before he can even finish, he's kind of actually abruptly cut off by a lot of people, who immediately like almost kind of stand up from the pews, and they're like, "She's too late! The star has already gone from the night sky. It's been 9 years. I thought we'd moved on from this." And other people are also sort of showing a more somber tone, like, but I thought we were never going to get magic back. And there's a mixed reception, and even a couple of scoffs from several elves who seem to think this is all just completely unnecessary. And immediately there's a real sinking feeling in your chest. You almost expected to return triumphant and be heralded as a hero, but this looks like a crowd of people who are just done with this belief. They're done with the prophecy. It's like it's a real disheartening thing to see. Like, you were a chosen one. Everyone set off with a full belief in their heart, and returning to this, it's upsetting.
Disappointing, yeah.
Yeah.
Without being asked, Daya is gonna get up and stand in front of the podium or whatever it is. Say, my dear friends,
Breaks it over again.
I know you have waited We have all waited for a long time. And you have now waited longer than we had hoped. But hope isn't gone yet. I have spoken to Corellin Larethian himself. And I carry with me the star. It is not too late, and we are not lost. I ask for you to grant me your trust and your faith.
Faith? Our faith has been exhausted. Our hope is all lost. It's time to move on from this prophecy. Someone's already like speaking up and saying this. It's probably the same woman who's kind of accused earlier. And Dayon says, please calm yourself. This is a reason to celebrate, not to give up. This is what we have been holding on to, holding out for. Listen to my daughter. Did you have more to say there?
Yeah. I am a simple creature. I have been on a simple journey. And I have brought back a simple item. I don't know how this will change things for us. We have been living without magic for so long. I maybe this will bring the magic back. Maybe not. Maybe this will bring back the old ways. But I ask you to participate with me. To do your best, because our God still believes in us. And he needs us.
Another more elderly looking elf speaks up and says, how can we know this isn't just some parlor trick and not another... We've had so many false alarms. I'm tired of hearing people cry wolf. And I think at this point, another elderly elf speaks up in return, and you recognize him actually. This is Traxelin speaking up, and he says, "No, you're not helping matters. This is clearly what we have been waiting for. Gaze upon its majesty. The stars. You found them, Dire. I knew you would. Well done, Dire. May I see them? May I see the majesty of the night?" He sort of gets up, hobbles closer towards you.
I will, I'll show him the flask and say, I was hoping you would know exactly what to do with this.
It's beautiful. And then he kind of starts to realize something, and then the other elves are saying, a younger one perhaps says, but Traxelin, I thought you said it yourself that we'd have to wait another 700 years again. That is true, but we now have the means. Perhaps not in our lifetime, but the next, our ancestors, our next generation will be gifted the gift of magic instead. And the others are just like, what? 700 years? You want us to wait another 700 years, old man? We're not going to be alive. Even elves don't live that long. And as this kind of descent into arguments go, one voice, a quieter voice, but it does get close enough that you can hear it, Diane. It seems to be just asking you a question, and rather than trying to be heard by the rest. It is the elf in simple green garb, no markings apart from if you're very keen-eyed, you can just about see a collar is slightly inked with tattoos, but it's very subtle. You can only perhaps just see the corners of it. And he steps close enough, whilst both he and Traxlam are inspecting the flask, and he looks at it, but he's also keeping a distance, kind of like leaning back. Says, "And where did you acquire such a flask? Where did you get this from? Who have you been cavorting with to acquire such a treasure?"
Do I know who this voice belongs to?
No, you don't
I
recognize
don't
him.
recognize. Who I've been cavorting with, and I'll gesture to my friends. These good people. But we have been to the Fey Wilds, the Fey Dark, through dimensions I didn't know existed. This is the gift of the Fey.
A gift? Or a curse? A trick? The Fae are known for their hexes and tricksy magics.
True. Perhaps I misspoke. A reward from the Fae for services rendered, and a return to its rightful place from those who would know better.
Yes, a reward does sound better. A gift would infer a pact. It would mean that you owe them something back. And what price could be put upon the gift of magic, I wonder? At this point, everyone is actually starting to realize who's talking, and everyone's quietening down to hear this person speak. They haven't raised their voice or tried to claim the audience's attention, but it seems that they have an air of respect already granted to them. And as he continues to speak, he says, "I heard that when you left for this place, you followed a trail, a breadcrumb trail, so to speak, that a potential witch had the power to aid you. Did you find her?"
I did. She was not the source of this flask, but she was a means to an end on that journey. I still have business with her, in fact, but
Oh,
she was not the one who granted us this boon.
so you're saying you're working with this witch?
No, just that she and I still have business. She provided me
Business?
hospitality, and for that I owe her. But this belongs to us. I earned this through blood, sweat, and tears, life itself and spirit. This belongs to no one but us.
And
Don't worry about the witch.
he does this very, very clever looking gesture where he raises his eyebrows, puts his arms out to the side, and turns to the entire choir of elves here, almost as if to say, "I'll let them be the judge of that." And almost as if to say, "Well, what do you think?" And everyone is looking, as you kind of finish this conversation, you look up to see all the elves have a very stern look of distrust. And before long, one or two of them are murmuring and whispering to themselves, "A witch! She said she's got business with a witch. What? Maybe she has been cursed. Maybe she is the witch. I thought Dia's supposed to be dead. Maybe it's her. Maybe she's wearing her skin." And there's all these horrible accusations that are very clearly heard from the rest of your allies as well. It's within earshot.
I would like to look at my father and roll my eyes and go, Oh, really? This is...
Ember, what's all this?
He's just remaining,
Hmm.
keeping his cool now while his friend is having insults hurled at her.
Yeah.
But he's starting to get a little angry. But for now, things are being kept unchecked.
Yeah.
Dia's gonna look to her father for permission, and then she will start raising her voice a little bit to be heard over the murmur. Go. What has happened in the time that I've been gone? Since when are we, the elves of Grey Fox, so uh, untrusting, so paranoid? What has happened that you don't believe anything being told to you? That you are so suspicious of even the word magic? This isn't the patient and peaceful people that I left. We have been waiting for so long, and you couldn't wait a little bit longer? Well, I'm disappointed. I understand that I have disappointed you, that it has taken me a long time to return. And I have used every minute of those years with no other desire than to bring this back to you. So we shall see where we go from here. But hobbits in Small Sprout have a saying, the proof is in the pudding. So if Traxelin is willing, I think we should... If I actually don't need you, I'm going to do this with or without you.
And we have a
You're,
saying in
you're
Palthor.
welcome to believe or not believe. It will happen regardless.
No, hold on. We have a saying in Palthor, and that is that nothing good can come of magic. And if you wish to do this, if you seek to try and return magic, I don't think some of us are ready for that. I don't think all of us want magic to return. And he stands up and actually takes a stand near Dayon at the front of the pew. Do you remember my tales I've told you? You remember what happened to Teletui? You have heard this travesty of their people, all of them wiped out. A great magical catastrophe struck that town. Now there just lies a single crater in a once verdant forest. We rid our city of our magic users a long time ago, and we have had no trouble since. Magic is a disaster waiting to occur. Sure, there may be conveniences, but there's always those who take it too far. And your allies, how are we to trust them as well? They are all seemingly magical infused. I feel like they have a bias. The prophecy is it's a thing of the past. Tradition is a dying shadow. These people have come to a realization that they don't need it. And that perhaps it's safer for them like this.
Why is it that you need to speak for them? They can speak for themselves? They're not cockroaches?
He turns to you with a very sly-looking expression. Ah, of course. I should introduce myself. Where is it? I just had it. Oh yeah, here we go. I am Scython Farstar.
Does the name sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Scython is AAN. This is indeed one of the preachers, one of the evangelists of Palthor that has come all this way. And you remember another one, Malian Strongbloom, but she doesn't seem to be present. Just this one at the moment.
That's it.
And you speak for these people? You speak for everyone here? You've been here for
I've been here for
less than 9 years.
less than 9, but enough time to know that these people do not want to hold on any longer to this idea.
9
Magic-
years.
Is this true?
I suppose you haven't
Well, I
heard of the
wanna
disaster
turn-
in that time, have you? And you,
Tell me.
so this time another elf speaks up and says, "It's true what he says, Daya. Telatui, a neighboring elf village, went up in smoke. Apparently they had discovered some sort of magical artifact. They brought it back. Circumstances are scarily familiar. Either way, whatever they did with it ended up causing the city to explode. There aren't many witnesses, but when we tried to arrive to offer aid, there was nothing more than a crater, black petals laden around it."
Black pedal.
Black petals.
Black petals.
Yes.
Just trying to make a connection, but I got nothing.
You,
Oh, I was just joining in. I felt left out.
Oh yeah, I figured as much. Yeah.
Many.
do you know what kind of artifact it was? Why?
They were,
What the source of?
well, all I know is that they had their shadowy infiltrators searching out different treasures and magical items. I think they were attempting to bring back their own god.
Is there no one that's able to find out what kind of artifact there is? Surely somebody in the capital would know.
Last I heard, another one, it's a different voice. Last I heard, they had discovered the lair of a sphinx.
A sphinx?
Indeed.
Oh no, it's not gonna. I think I know what this is out of character that might have done something like this. Hmm.
And this is enough to convince all of you that magic should be rejected and thrown out? Some mysterious thing? A disaster you don't know the source of?
Meanwhile, there's wars being built on corruption. Similar kind of corruption that your people cause. There's a saying that we have in Weep, and that's nothing is good comes from Palthor.
That's a good saying.
That's... Excuse me, but I have been nothing more than a guiding hand here. A voice of wisdom.
And I
like
say
everyone
you are tainting the minds of these people for your own benefit. You did the exact same to Weep the
Not
last
for our
I was
benefit.
there.
For their own safety.
Are you not done ridding these people of the last hope they have?
Their hope was already fading. I arrived in time to make sure that
You
they pushed
arrived in
forward.
time to kill off what little hope they had, by the sounds of it. And yes, I'll agree with you. Magic is dangerous, but many things are dangerous. You yourself are very dangerous, and you're proving that with every word you speak. Because
We
every
arrived.
word you speak is clearly designed to twist people to think the way you think and not give them the chance to think for themselves. And that is perhaps the most dangerous thing of all. You're not killing their bodies, you are killing their minds, killing their identity of who they are. This people, unlike your people, have grown up with this desire for magic, these legends of magic. And yes, it may have taken time to bring that back, but there is a chance it would bring it back. And just because a disaster happened in one place, you think it's going to happen here? To me, that doesn't sound like you're trying to protect them. It sounds like you're just scared that perhaps
Sen-
they'll turn against you.
Senrith
We've a-
echoes that remark and says from the back, "You can't condemn all mages for the mistakes of a few." And yeah, go on if you want to say something as well.
Yeah, we arrive in time to fix the damage that you've done, which, if you can put two and two together, that's after you, you understand? And, well, we're here to have Daya sit as a proper seat as a hero to her people. So you want to talk about time? You're a little too late, my friend. You can probably just save yourself the trouble and just leave. It'd be better than burning to death. I gotta promise you.
He looks a very sudden shocked expression at you.
Yeah,
As
like you said, mages are dangerous.
threatening me.
Don't forget it.
And you play into his hands, Ember, but oh well.
He threatens us. Threatens
No,
us with his own magics.
I don't threaten you. I actually promise you. Daya is, well, she's she's your savior. If you're scared of me, that's fine. But look to her for.
Why fear not you? I fear for the safety of these people. He walks up to the pew where you're sitting, and as a result ends up kind of in the middle of the crowd, everyone encircling him. He says, "There is a tale. A lord once walked amongst his fields, observing the laborers at work. Flax bloomed all around him, the color of still water. The air rippled like a curtain. As he stopped to examine a blossom, a bee stung him on the hand. Turning to a laborer for aid, he noticed, for the first time, the heavy gloves and coat she wore. As she tended to him, the Lord asked, why she dressed in such stifling heat? To avoid your fate, he replied. There are many thousands of bees here, the Lord said to her, and only one stung me. Surely your caution is unwarranted. The stinger is always a surprise, agreed the laborer, but so is the bee that simply passes one by. The crowd seemed to be listening to this intently, but they're unsure
What
as
is
to which
this
side to land on.
meaningless anecdote?
What?
You can talk in stories all you like,
Hold on.
but we have been a magic people for so long. Magic isn't good or bad. It's a tool. It's a nature, a force of nature. It's who we are. It's up to us to make it good or bad.
Oh.
You know this. Just like the sun can bring growth or drought, just like the rain can bring floods or nourishment. There's no judgment there. It's what you use it for. And my friends, it seems that since these newcomers have joined you, look at what's happened to this village. I see decay. I see neglect. Where are the guardians who were there to trim back the grasses? Where are the carpenters to repair the bridge? Where are the artisans to to paint and carve and keep things. We never needed magic to keep a beautiful city before. Why do you neglect it now? Is this what these Palthorians have promised you?
It's like Eridana said, it seems as though they have maybe seeded fear. But I would like you to make a persuasion check now. And
Added persuasion.
Yeah.
Oh, frig.
you're gonna and both can bend luck. 2. Rough.
Yep.
I only rolled a 13 as
Yep.
well, so it wasn't a high DC necessarily.
No, well,
But so that brings it to an 11. There does seem to be, again, a split sort of crowd. Not everyone is completely convinced by the Palthorians' words, but nor are they bold enough. Maybe they don't have the courage enough yet to accept their destiny. It is a scary thought that an entire city has gone up in smoke over a very similar circumstance. So caution is clearly warranted, but maybe that's where they're missing. Perhaps the element they're missing is faith, and yet you've yet to kind of bring that into the light. Grizz has spoken for the first time and says, "Hold on, it's been thinking about the analogy for a long time." It's like, okay, but do bees know what they're doing, like mages do? Do they like know the consequences? And then the Palthor turns and says, "It costs a bee its life to sting a man. What does it cost a mage?" Hmm.
Eridanus is going to consider this
You
for a
want
moment.
to find
and
out, or
Eridanus
what's-
will stand up and walk next
Threatening.
to Daya and say, "So, people of Grey Fox, you wish for proof that the power of the stars will return, that the power of stars is on your side, correct?"
Mm. Again, kind of uneasiness. Some say, What are you saying? You possess the power of the stars?" Another one says, Don't cast in here. I don't want to see the town hall burn down."
I'm not going to cast. I am merely going. If you wish for proof that the stars are here to aid you, then perhaps it is worth noting that I come as a representative of the Queen of the Moon and Stars. And that, despite the fact that it has been beyond the normal time limits that would be expected for the stars to return, it is perhaps that delay that has actually, in fact, been your salvation. The stars were delayed due to various reasons. And perhaps now that Daya has returned slightly after the time when they should be, the stars will be put back in their proper place at the proper time, and so the magic will return. But if you wish for proof that the stars are here to aid you, and then he is going to, because he can, and because it seems like a very persuasive point, he's going to assume the starry form of the Fairy Queen. So
Okay.
his skin will turn to the night sky, the star symbols will show, and he'll even remove his jacket to show the starry symbol on his arm of the sword.
Mera speaks up and says, "It is Queen Una." And she seems to be the voice of I guess faith in this. She says, She is indeed. Her domain is of the stars. If anyone has the power to help us, it is her. And you can roll a persuasion check, Eridanus.
And you know what? As I do this, I'm going to slap guidance on myself because I'm terrible at this.
Okay.
Oh, apparently
That's
not.
good. It's 20.
20.
Okay.
20.
Okay.
Nice.
So in counter to that, because there's going to be more like a tug of war here. He says, the Palthorian that says, "Be wary, my friends. He uses glamours to make himself seem more convincing. That hand gesture, that speech, that is an incantation, casting a spell over you. I'm gonna roll a persuasion check as well. But it is not enough. It's not day armor, it's just on the
Look on
Palthorian.
that.
Yeah.
I'm going to bend luck on that.
And lower it
Oh.
further.
Lower it even
Lower.
further.
14.
Okay. The elves look at one another and they say, "We're resistant to glamours and enchantment magic. I don't feel any different." And another one says, "This is, as Mera says, this is a goddess, an archfey. Why were they delayed? They seem to be more. They seem to be more asking you questions now. They're interested in the tale. They are actually like wanting to know the circumstances. Explain why we have been forsaken. Why we have been waiting so long."
Yes, I suggest maybe you'll, Mr.
Yeah.
Palthorian, you could sit down and listen, and you might learn something here.
And I will cast suggestions, spending a sorcery point to do so subtly.
I didn't roll this
Subtle.
at the beginning
Ooh.
of the day.
Okay, he's gonna roll.
So it's an odd number, so once
With
again,
advantage.
I'm on woe.
Because he is an elf. And
And as my reaction, I'm going to use woe on him to reduce whatever roll he gets by 2.
okay, all right, fair. Ooh, what's your DC? 17, right?
If-
15.
Yeah, 15, right? Yeah.
I guess Spell's DC is 15.
Yeah,
Feels
right.
low.
How? I
Yeah,
wish I'd
I only
rolled
have
higher.
18 charisma.
Only 18.
Yeah, spell DC 8 plus 3
Oh,
proficiency bonus
Yeah, that's fair.
plus thing plus
Okay.
charisma bonus 3 6.
So minus the
Yeah,
2, he's literally on the dot, just barely able to resist your guile. He doesn't know that you've done this, however, due to the subtle nature of it. So he can't take any. Yeah, he can't take any action against you. Instead, he kind of just looks at you and then scoffs and says,
Fine, suit yourself. You want to be belligerent and ignorant? Yeah, he'll die like the rest of them. But I'm gonna enjoy this tale. And enough
Yeah.
of you.
"He's
Let
resisting."
let me tell you the tale of a war that recently occurred in the Feywild between those of the Feywild and those who live below in the Feydark. The Fomorians, twisted giants, once the most beautiful, corrupted by their greed and their desire to be ever more beautiful, cursed for that very reason. Queen Una, with the
And he will speak a curse upon us if we do not cut his tongue out.
and
Silence,
now
fool.
and now come the threats. He says, but I do not come here with threats. That is more my fiery friends thing. I come here merely to aid Dire in the return of the stars to their rightful place. For I am one with the stars and they are one with me. And it is for that very reason that I decided to journey here. I was born from the stars and from the void which held them. But the stars were employed as a weapon to reduce the Fomorian capabilities, to prevent them from coming to the surface, for any light blinds them, and night was stretching out for a particularly long time in the Feywild, even for the Feywild. And so the stars, for a while, were held in place until the dawn could rise. Once the
admit
war
it?
was over.
The stars are a weapon. It will be used against us.
The
It will destroy
star,
you the
the-
same way Teletui was destroyed.
the stars are only a weapon to those who are blind to the light that they provide. And it seems, my friend, that the only person who is blind to the light here is you.
My friends, I ask you to listen to the story. If you have any doubts at all about what this newcomer has told you, if there is any grain of hope in you left, please listen to my friend, and we will tell you everything about how this came to be, why it took so long, why it's not yet too late. Don't let the pessimism take you over.
So he's clearly employing a fear tactic, which is more effective than just persuading, it seems. And it seems like one of you to make again another roll. You can choose persuasion or even intimidation, but you can do so with advantage as you're aiding each other.
What's your persuasion like, Daya?
My persuasion is +0.
So
Intimidation +0.
Okay, so I'm slightly better. So I'll go for persuasion with advantage, which is shift for advantage.
Yeah.
And I will guidance myself again.
Oh my god.
Yes.
And I have that guy come in and oh my
23.
god, 23 just edges
Yep.
you out. So with Eridanus and Daya standing side by side, trying to back each other up, the fear is definitely upon these poor elves' faces, but they are also inspired by your tale, Eridanus, and Daya speaking as one of their own, one who has already given up so much and sacrificed so much to kind of seek out this. They see themselves within you as well, knowing that you had to brave many fears, and for them to just take this final step is nothing compared to the challenges you had to face. They seem to sort of be leaning towards you guys more than giving into fear at this point. You've definitely inspired them with that tale of war and such, Eridanus.
Yeah. I'm not going into the full details of that because that would take forever.
Of course, no. But they seem to definitely want to know more. They are interested. And I think at this point, Daon takes to the stand and says, "We are claiming our birthright, our ancestry. We are elves. We are born of magic. It doesn't fade away. It exists in every one of us. It persists. As long as our hope persists. Do not let my daughter's efforts be in vain." And you have heard the truth of their allies. We have an emissary from an archfey themselves, one of the domain of stars. What more proof do you need? And at this point, the sort of, you can see a few agreeing nods and a few brave faces kind of being shone as they look towards Daon. And lastly, the Palthorian says, "This is all moot. Your sage has already explained. The window to return the stars has long passed.
This is ridiculous. Look at you all. You're living in squalor. It's pathetic. You. Farstar. Is it Farstar? That's your name? All right, listen, Farstar. You stand before Dia Lindaway, a hero of these people. You spew your garbage. You keep them pinned down. Look, like the vines are dying. There's mist everywhere. It smells. Yeah, well, I mean that's kind of more grizz. But my point is this: things. This is not an elf. I come from. Okay, well, I'll tell you something. I've got a saying. Since we're all like, using cliches here, idea. Yeah. The jewel of the Claude Coast. You know, we shine in the sun and we glow in the stars. That's everyone. Right. And this city. That's how I think of elven cities. And this is you're not glowing. You're not shining. You're dying. Everyone, all of you, you're fucking dying. Farstar, get out of here, man. Near Star,
Go
maybe.
far away.
Yes, yeah. Grizz
Yeah.
is picking up on what I'm putting down.
And-
It's time for you to go, my friend. You're
I will
starting
be.
to really, and
want
I
to
will
be
let.
far away. When you return magic to this place, I want to be as far away as possible.
Well, then
Yeah.
go live your legacy. Believe me, you'll feel good afterwards.
And
Take a trip.
Farstar, to go back to what you said, it seems that despite how much you speak, you don't listen. As I said, the stars were delayed, their movements were delayed. Thus, the fact that window has passed is the fact why that window may indeed be open.
Like you
And
said,
if-
we're right on time.
And if we have nothing else here, we can at least hope. And even if this magic does not return immediately, which I believe in my heart that it will, then we know that it will return in time. And even if I look to the people, even if the magic does not return now, do you want to deny the chance for that magic to return for your children and your further descendants just because you might not be able to have it now?
As you say, descendants. Although there aren't many children brought into this audience, you can perhaps see that there are some children gathered around the outside, trying to peer in and get an earshot of this. Several of them have lesser pointy ears than others. Some have slightly darker hair and less bright eyes. They're more like slightly darker
The
eyes.
magic is faded from them, perhaps.
Yeah, like their ancestry is fading from them and being washed out. They're by no means sickly looking, but they
No,
definitely
but they
don't have.
almost
You
appear
could mistake them
less.
for half elves.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. They kind of got much more human qualities to them, which is very peculiar.
Yeah,
But
they seem to have, perhaps over time, their connection to the Fae has faded.
Indeed.
And this will actually be a point that Eridanus brings up. You worry about the Fae as something to fear, but you are elves, are you not? You descend from the Fae. You are the Fae. To be afraid of the Fae is to be afraid of yourselves. To be afraid of your ancestors. And are you truly afraid of them? Or do you want to honor them by returning something which they too have long awaited? After all, as much as I can talk, the decision is not mine. I am not here to make that decision for you. I'm merely here to put that decision on the table, to put this one side of the argument down. The decision in the end is yours.
Make one last persuasion check, placing the choice in the people's hands.
And I will guidance myself again because I don't trust my. Yeah.
12.
The Benlux.
Okay.
No,
Well, the
13.
Ben in there as well. 1, rough, 12, 13,
Yeah.
4,
This is a hard
13.
sell.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a hard
so-
sell.
And likewise, if you wish to choose to condemn your own people to a terrible fate, I will not try to stop you. I have been nothing more than a peaceful emissary to your kind, a guiding hand when there was none, when all you had was old elves blabbering on about a forgotten prophecy, gods that have their own agenda, magics that are unstable. If you place your faith in that, I can only offer you my own prayers. And he will roll one last persuasion check.
I will Cosmic Omen that to reduce it by a d6, whatever we
Okay.
roll.
Another
Yes,
cosmic omen.
Nice.
-6. That brings it down to
Yes.
11.
Yes, which means
God.
we win.
The stars shine brighter than this hollow elf's words. They are seemingly gazing upon those stars, and that cosmic omen is one for him. He's the only one who shows fear. He sees it as an omen. Everyone else sees it as a blessing. And he backs away, pulls up his hood, turns, and begins
Wait.
to make.
Wait,
the-
Dayon Farstar, sorry,
Um,
Dayon Lindaway. What would be the penalty for, as Tanner said, corruption or treason in this forest, this grove, this city?
He says,
Law must be upheld.
there has been enough arguments. I don't want to raise pitchforks. I want to unite my people. And I do not wish any ill fate upon. He's trying to speak up so he can hear as he's trying to leave. Do not wish any ill upon the Palthorians. I hope that when you return to Shiverpine, that you can return knowing that our people have had their faith restored, that good has been done here, and that we are back on our own 2 feet. But we do not need the aid of the Palthorians here. He's lets this kind of ring out to the Palthorian, and what does he say in response to that? Let me see. Says,
Worth your laws, Dayon. It would be, well, all right.
he says actually what he says is actually there is a punishment befitting, but I'm not the one who committed crimes. All those magical practitioners, those who hide their face and skulk in the corners. He points towards Senrith. The punishment for their crimes in Palthorian is nowhere near as lenient as yours. I hope your lapse in strict conviction does not end up with all of you dying.
And Eric.
There is punishment for crime, but magic itself is no crime. Magic is wonder and nature, and it is stunning that nature that is wrong. I'm sorry that you are so cynical, that you can only see the negative in the world. But Grey Fox, this place has always been a place of faith and hope. And we have been patient, and we have been waiting. And it's time for that patience to be rewarded. My friends, this is what we are. We have spent so long keeping our lives quiet and under the surface, and we have been calm, and we have not wanted to grow too ambitious. But when I left this place and I came onto magic and I saw what it could do, the beauty that it brought, the terror it's capable of, I grew beyond the person that I was when I left here. And so yes, there is danger, but I'm hoping I can bring you all with me to see how much more we can be. We bring back what we should have had all along. There is a greater world.
Yeah. Claps begin erupting in the pews.
Yay.
Mira's standing up and clapping as well.
So, yeah, and I'm
I
gonna
am proud of you.
I'm gonna hand the flask to Traxelin and sit down. And
Okay. All right. That was beautiful. Well, guys, you did win
Excellent.
the tug of war of
Well
social
freaking done.
combat there. Yeah, just with with that
just
cosmic omen
barely. Yeah.
of guidance. They know that was clutch as well. The fact that you won the one where you said that you were using glamours, because if that had been the case, then you would have had to stop using guidance, and even maybe even cosmic omens and such. Who knows? But it was good that you won that little one because he was trying to convince the crowd that you were literally casting magic to
Mm.
charm them. But these are elves; they know what charms are. They're resistant. Okay. We are coming up to time, but I think we'll end on one little thing here. Trax takes the flask and looks it over curiously. His hands are a little shaky, but he does maintain a good grip on it. And he says, I believe if this contains the star, we can release it into the night sky, but I still remember the ritual. But I do have one concern, and that is, what if there are now 2 Larithian stars, and it's become some sort of like relay race in the night sky? We need to overlap them.
At the
The
moment,
window
this
is...
my understanding is that this is the only star. It was in the Feywild because it wasn't here. There is just this. I don't
We
know
saw it.
what ritual there is, but according to Queen Una, all we have to do is release it, and it will snap back into place and find its natural order.
Well, hang on now.
We saw the star pass nearly 6 years ago. It finished its journey across the sky and faded out. But no magic returned. That is when people started giving up hope.
Ember will think on this and
Yeah, okay. You can
think
think
on
roll an Arcana check again.
Kesserask's.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll do the Arcana check. I'll actually do this Arcana check with Tides of Chaos. Give myself advantage.
Okay. Tides of
This is a
Chaos.
pretty important one. Fuck,
Oh,
no, it's not good. It's
Even
not good.
it seems his uncertainty is shared by yours as well. Kesseras did mention, of course, how the whole ordeal went, and I explained every detail. You're a little uncertain as well, Ember. You can't say with conviction that this will work. You can't.
You know what I'm thinking, right, Chris?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Will I do it for Daya though? That's the. Yeah. Okay. Continue. I got it.
okay. We will take this to the Night Shrine. We will take it to Oh, what's it called? It's been so many years since someone has been up there.
Temple?
Eh,
Corellan's
Six,
temple?
eh, six,
Um,
6 years, you
the ob-
say?
The observatory?
Thoradal, the night shrine, the pillars of the moon. It seems to have reeled off a couple of names, and it may be that there are several names that have been given to it over the years. But its original purpose, you have heard of it. You've been there before, and it is a sacred shrine dedicated to the night sky, the moon, um, Larithian's star. It is literally the shrine to Larithian's star. But it's been so long since anyone's had the need to go there, nor the want, perhaps, at this point. But it is only a short walk. It's not like another grand adventure you have to go on. It is past the rocky, craggy mountaintop area I mentioned, and yeah, you can make it there within the day easily. Especially with your magics, you could probably get there even quicker. Half a day even. My old tired bones. We'll have to make one more journey up there. Deon says,
Think so, yeah.
very well. Dia, Mira,
I'm with you, Father.
let us return the honor and the majesty of Grey Fox. And he
Gaia, the
gestures
hero
towards
that she is.
the rest of the people. He says, we will likely have to wait till nightfall, I assume, correct? And, oh, yes, yes. To return the stars, one must have a canvas for which to deliver them. But I guess in the meantime, the celebration's in order. The long-awaited one has returned, and their people are free of fear. Pushing forward together. Yes. And he seems like, yeah, there's a kind of burst of merriment in the area. This is the return you expected, Dia. Like everyone being happy to hear of your safety and that this prophecy is finally being fulfilled. But there does seem to be a little unnervousness about the old elf sage here. Wouldn't even call him a wizard. He doesn't actually know magic. He didn't have access to it, so he's just a sage. He just is a lawkeeper of this stuff. But
Does this mean we can have a drink?
yeah, you can definitely pop out some drinks.
As they're walking, Eridanos wants to look at the flow of water again and be like, whilst he's still got his starry form up, just as like a gift from the Feywild, he's gonna use create or destroy water to make it rain over the river to try to clean it out a bit.
Okay.
Because he can do it as a free thing once a day, so might as well.
Yeah. For the first time, they see. All they've been hearing is whispers of fearful things about magic, the damage it can do, the catastrophes it's inflicted. For the first time in years, they see magic being put to a good use, and water flows freely and cleanly through the river, filling the reservoirs, and it's crystal clear if you want it to be.
Yep.
Because yeah, you have literal control over the water. You can purify it.
Yeah.
And yeah, this crystalline water is now. It looks so fresh that even some people sort of like get right up to the water's edge and cup it and begin drinking directly from it. And yeah, there's like laughter. There's like they're laughing perhaps at their own folly, at the fact that they've kind of been so scared of this whole time.
Was there
And
other
now-
Palthorians or just him?
There looked like there was just the one, but roll a perception check, Ember.
course. Then I finally roll nice on something that isn't.
Okay, there's multiple ones. In fact, they're actually at this point making themselves a little bit more obvious because you can, with that 17, spot Star. He's at the far end of the outskirts of the village, and several others who are pulling away from the crowds are also meeting up with him. There looks to be about, let's see, how many are there? Oh, there's 4 of them. They seem to be whispering to one another. Their hoods are all pulled up. They seem to be like pulling and tugging at their cloaks as well, making sure that they're like firmly around themselves.
I'll point this out to Tanner.
Looks like they're making their retreat. Hopefully they won't be back to cause any more problems.
Tanner will just keep side eye, but will slowly nod.
Mm.
Keep your eyes peeled, Tanner.
They look back at you guys and they catch you looking at them, and then they quickly turn away and begin.
I light just a
Oh,
little bit
God.
of fire in my hand. Just kind of
Hmm.
remind them who I am. For
Roll
better
an
or worse.
intimidation check.
Hold on. I just want to add on top
Better
of
or
that.
for worse.
The shield is rotating around me, and like it'll rotate once, and nothing's in my hand. It
And that be
rotates
with
around
my.
again, and
Oh, it
I'm
is with my
flipping them
charisma.
Oh, I like that. Roll it in with advantage and kind of aiding you.
Sure.
Okay, so
15.
15. In addition to this, roll an insight check as well, both of you.
I'm so lawful good.
Well, these guys are assholes.
Sorry,
You're-
insight.
Yes, please.
They are assholes, big time.
Okay. Tanner, Ember, they don't seem intimidated by the fire in the slightest. But you do see a very almost maniacal like grin over one of their faces. With a 16 insight, you take that to mean that they find it amusing that you're intimidating them with fire.
Oh, they
Mm-mm.
aren't as resistant as they think. But that's
And then-
interesting to me.
Yeah, they then move out of your line of sight behind the tree line.
Fuck,
and
I don't like
into-
these guys
into this.
at all. I want to fuck them up, man. Ugh. Murder
Okay.
hobo in me is just raging.
Ripped
Fucking-
you open.
Trigger a fireball, like right on the trigger.
Mm.
Fuck out of here. All right, I'm done.
Hey, I had to get yours in. That's good. I like that.
Ugh.
Put some more joyful music on there. So, at this point, you guys, you can tell me what you want to do until the nightfall, because it is yours. The day is yours, effectively, at this point.
Let's get
Right.
drunk. Sorry, God.
I actually, this is weird for Ember, but he will spend it with the sage and ask him very specific timeline events and sequences and what time it's supposed to be and what year and exactly like, and he'll like stress like, even though the sage is kind of old and his memory's fading, like he'll stress like you need to be exact and precise and try to get try to find out the exact time that the Laurentian star crossed over 6 years ago, like to the friggin' minute.
Yes, of course, young man. Follow me. I'll...
No, you listen to me. You have to think. No, clearly.
And
I have
I'll
the
follow him.
calendar right here. He pulls out a large scroll and unreels it. Right here, the date. 3 years the star was supposed to remain from this date until here.
And what would happen if Gaia were to release her star at the exact time that this star was sailing through the night sky as...
Well, then the stars would overlap. The magic would be returned to our people. The transgressions against Larethian would be unmade.
Well, then let's make sure that that happens, eh, old man?
And I'll just smirk at him.
I've got something
bit of-
cooking.
Yes. You know
Yeah.
magic?
I'll just spend, half an hour, I guess, while others are preparing some kind of, I don't know, whatever the hell's happening. with him in his little wherever he is, kind of lab or whatever sage. I imagine he's probably somewhere in here, right? He would probably take me. I'd assume.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the
looks
little
kind of
library.
sagey.
That's definitely
so,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be in there with him, just really making sure that all my ducks are in a row. Because if I'm gonna do what I think I might do, I want to make sure.
Okay, gotcha. All right. What about you guys? Eridanus, you've done the water. Everyone is getting fresh water and also fresh wine. They say one of the elves comes up to you and says, "That's a neat trick. Water is pretty good, but have you tried elven wine from House Grey Fox?" And she hands you a glass. She's holding one herself.
Eridanus will say no, but cheers, and he'll savor the bouquet before taking a sip. Because, you know.
So you're one with the stars.
Yes, that would be true. I was kind of, for want of a better term, born of them. This
and
time.
if we cavort with the stars, then we'll get our magic back?
In theory, yes.
So what do I need to do with you then? Get my magic back?
Eridanus is just like, well, why don't we find out? I suppose. Eridanus just shrugs and goes, why not? When in Grey Fox does the Grey Fox do, I guess.
Oh god. Mira begins talking to some of the elves, and they rush off and return with instruments. And she sees a town of smiling faces as many people begin celebrating and bringing out the merriment as the wine starts pouring and celebrating. And Mira announces, "Can we just please give a much warmer welcome to Dia, my daughter? Please. She's done so much hard work. She deserves this." And she raises her own glass. And everyone's like, everyone kind of like sort of definitely raises their glass. And even a couple of people do come up to you and say, "I'm sorry, Diane, I nearly lost faith, Di."
I don't
Don't know
blame
what
you
I-
at all.
This is probably one of your fellow monks and one of your fellow acolytes from the temple.
That was a trial that would have tested anyone. I hope your faith isn't completely lost.
No. Tell me, you spoke to Lorethian? You said you communed with him.
I did. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity, but he's just as we'd always hoped.
The temple would love to hear your recount of this. But let's celebrate first and then hit the books later.
Let's release the star first. I think perhaps you'll be ready once that happens to hear what I have to say.
It's probably about that time where Dyer gets yoinked by an already drunk Tanner in for a dance.
Amazing.
Takes you by the arm and starts spinning.
Roll a performance check.
Oh boy, can I
Nice,
roll it with
amazing.
disadvantage, please?
Bingo.
Elven dancers. Are you dancing your plate mail?
Yep.
That's tough.
Oh,
Oh god, where is it? There it is. Performance. Oh, it's actually not that bad. Okay.
yeah. There's a bit of a drunken stupor to it, but you know, you maintain standing. You know, you don't make a fool of yourself. But it is difficult. You can tell. Clattering is heard over the chorus of elven minstrels.
I can imagine also that the animated shield although it's still orbiting me, I can imagine a couple of the smaller children have managed to hang on to it and are currently like dangling as it's spinning around.
Yeah.
As it's just hovering around.
Awesome.
And
After
you'll-
about an hour in the study, Ember will come out and just kind of nod and enjoy the atmosphere, but kind of sit by himself by the pond here and kind of edgelord himself a bit, and have a drink, and just kind of watch things go with a smile on his face. I'm not full edgelord. I'm not brooding.
No,
Brooding. I'm pondering.
I think so too as Sinrith, and is wondering about this this shrine, this place of power. But perhaps he's looking out towards that, maybe like plotting out a route as well. So yeah, awesome. I think there is a nice high note to end on. I
Yay.
do have more planned. I do want to get to the night shrine up there. But
Mhm.
yeah, looks like we'll have to save that for next session. And we'll see. You got some time to think, Ember.
Yeah.
Want to use this or not?
What is he doing? What is he planning?
I don't
Oh,
know,
no,
Sarah Jane.
I think
Ah.
I've got an idea, but I don't like the idea.
Hmm. Okay. Awesome. Well,
Huh?
thank you very much
Heath?
for watching this political debate.
CNN bids you good, or BBC bids you good night.
Yeah, that's it. But no, good job to these guys, and finally, perhaps that last stump kicked out of the way, you can finally relish in your hard work and your rewards.
Almost. Almost. We
Until
still got
next
one
week.
couple things left to do, but
Dude.
But let's hope it all pans out okay.
I mean, I was
Ah.
gonna release the stars anyway, like even if I had to do it secretly.
Yeah,
like
that would've
even
been-
if they wouldn't agree, she'd be like, "All right, I'll just do it without your permission. That's fine."
Yeah, if they'd have beat you in like persuading everyone,
Mhm.
that might have ended up being like combat effectively, because you'd have snuck off. They would have tried to like find you in the night, and then they would have found you, and that God knows how messy that could have been.
You
Yeah.
definitely want the hearts and minds if you can get them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Sure.
definitely.
Nice
All right.
job.
Until then, see you next week, and also tune in on Friday for more Roll for Story,
Roll for star!
where they're in Tal Tarig, the puzzle tower.
Mm,
Yeah.
Very fun.
yay, my favourite.
Mm. I've let you off. I've
It's
given
not a
you the
library
light.
camp.
Now I'm gonna start beating the crap out of puzzles.
Punch your
mean,
way
well,
through it, man. You're a monk.
Exactly.
You already did punch one of the puzzles and you hurt my head.
Yeah, that's true.
We had to
Please
go on a
don't
break
punch.
for that.
Sounds like it worked then.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.